services eligible for review. And researchers at the University of Arizona are creating new ways to defend one of Yuma's most important winter vegetables. The researchers are using the plant Ulysses to fight thrips and organic lettuce. Thrips are insects that spread a dangerous disease into our vegetables. Since organic farming is cheap on chemical sprays, researchers needed a non-toxic way to combat the insects. The plan is to be attractive to trade Ulysses. Join us on TV 5 News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 for local news, weather, and sports. I'm Danielle Burke-North.
Allo Fibers teamed up with DirecTV and launched Allo Mobile. This product combination means internet you can count on, streaming TV you can watch anytime and anywhere, and nationwide coverage on your mobile plan that you can depend on. It's real service, and it comes with real savings because now you can switch, stack, and save and get all three of those services at one affordable price. A savings you won't want to miss. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3".
Hey, I'm 550 KBLU. Clark with you. It's Wednesday, so that means Dean's here.
Glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you too. I have George listening in. He's not on the phone or anything, but he's listening to the show. Been on many times. I've had him for an hour long.
Must be pretty interesting.
He is. He was a chairman of the NRA for many years. He started CPAC. He was an advisor to like 6 presidents.
Yeah,
and,
influential guy.
Oh, big time. He created a lot, and he's active writing still. I think it's the Washington Post that the active writes. But he's been in the hospital. He had a stroke not too long ago. In fact, he's been on the air since then. But somehow he took ill. Don't really know how he's doing. In fact, I called George just before I went on air. How's David doing?
Yes,
all that. But because we're concerned about him.
What's his age?
80.
Only 80.
Which means very young.
Yeah, 80 is the new 60.
See how we change on that? Yeah. Right?
The older you get, the younger it seems.
I've mentioned before, and of course, we're asking for prayers for David King. That's a wonderful man, wonderful friend of the show, and good friends with my Washington bureau chief, George Braun, and a lot of associates there in Washington, D.C. Still, David's active, but he enjoyed coming on the show, he was brought here by George.
Yeah, well,
because
great.
He said he's a guy that gets invited into Fox News,
right.
MSNBC, and all that stuff. But they sit there in the green room for an hour or two, and they go out and they get a minute worth of something, and then they're gone.
Right.
And
here you can talk for an hour.
Well, yeah, we just talk for an hour. We don't care. And he really is just so articulate. And I know he's a writer, but my goodness, his speaking voice.
I think this is just part of this whole new dynamic in the media, where this old, give somebody a minute and maybe you chop it up so that he looks different than what he actually says. No longer is very valid. People don't want to see that. They want long format.
That's why social media is on. Joe Rogan has taken over, and others like John Gizzi, who comes on. That's been he's been in the White House briefing room for 30 some years. He's got a hard pass. He's always there. Under many presidents and everything. So he's a writer, but when he comes on, he speaks so eloquently. He's so good at really painting great pictures and
I think that writing does that for you. Because you have to learn to be more precise. The written word is not very forgiving, because there's probably 50 million critics out there willing to say you didn't put a comma there, or you should have, or you put one you shouldn't have. I mean, so the critics and they're vocal. And with today's media, you put out a written piece, and in the comments they say, well, "Who taught you English?"
Communication, which I've taught for years, but I'm a student. I'm so much to learn.
Obviously.
Obviously, oral communications. The goal is to paint a picture that the person listening can formulate in their head. To really paint. How warm it is. What the situation is, gloomy, happy, whatever. Put all that in there because that's how you remember details. You remember things. Doing that in a written word is a lot uh, a lot more canvas to work with in the written word to be able to do that than I think in the spoken word. It's too quick.
Yes, but the thing about the written word is it's so much compacted. I mean, because people can read a lot faster than they can listen.
Correct.
And in my particular, the medium I mostly write in, which is online publication, they want short articles. They don't want anything. They prefer the article to be less than 1,000 words. I used to think when I was in grade school or maybe early high school, 1,000 words was forever. It was like, oh my God, they want me to write 1,000 words. Now it's simply, a 20-minute job. But and that's exaggerating. It's probably usually closer to a half hour, 45 minutes. But the thing is that when you have to do it, I mean, when it's a passion, you do day after day, you just get better at it.
Right.
You just get better at it. And the person you're talking about has been doing it for a lifetime at a very high level. So it doesn't surprise me they're articulate.
Well, it transfers completely over to the radio and everything too, because they speak with a better understanding of how to get listeners engaged and paint that picture in their head and everything. Something about college professors are so boring you want to skip them all you can.
Well,
because they do a lot differently. They trying to impress with their vocabulary.
Well, I'm going to say it depends, because I've had college professors that were absolutely brilliant.
Oh, of course, there's no one way or the other. But I think more like college presidents and stuff.
Yeah, maybe so. We went into school a long time ago. Things have changed.
It seems like they want to impress you more than inform you.
Perhaps. I mean, and that might be the trend.
There might be just some of them. It's anecdotal. I didn't go to that.
That's right. And I'm sure it depends a lot by school and by, what their area of expertise is.
But in communications, I don't want to start with this, but you can only speak to what the audience already has understanding in. In other words, the vocabulary you use and the situations you use, they have to have a knowledge of in order to grasp it. And I discussed that with a writer once in college, and he said, it's very difficult sometimes to come up with analogies or something that everyone's going to understand. Like there's no universal understanding. And we were studying a book, and it happened to mention the northern peninsula of Michigan or something. I don't know. It said
Upper Peninsula
or something. Just mentioned Upper Peninsula, and they said, "How many knows what that means?" And nobody knew. And he said, "Well, that's the problem." He says, "We can't to find something that everyone understands." And I suggest, well, Yellow Brick Road, y'all know that.
Well, yeah, but there are now people who haven't watched that movie.
I did it a while ago. Still popular.
You were correct. I think it was Samuel Clemens that talked about writing, or maybe it was George Orwell, but they said, if you can use a shorter word instead of a longer one, use the shorter one. If you can say it in less words, that's better. Now they're talking about writing, which is a different medium than speaking, but I think it's generally correct.
Yeah.
And one of the problems is that people try to impress people with large words because they think it makes them sound erudite. Oops, there's a large word.
Thanks for that.
But when I write, I find myself using sometimes long words because it's very precise, when a short word would order just as well.
Generalistic. Yeah, but yeah.
And so I try to go with the shorter word.
But some words mean different things to different people.
Absolutely. All the time.
And I use that example when I'm discussing speech. I said, if you just say wagon, there was a wagon. Well, that's going to depend on where you grew up as to what the wagon is.
Sure.
Because, out here with farmland, it could be a hay wagon.
Yeah.
It could be a toy wagon, a Red Ryder.
That's right.
We don't know.
Or somebody watches Westerns, it's a Conestoga.
So be careful when you use a term like just wagon and assume everybody has that same picture that you do. They won't.
Yes.
And that's where the descriptive comes in.
Yes, right. Absolutely correct.
And you got to be more descriptive on a lot of those things if you expect people to follow you.
I even am careful about using pronouns and such too much, not because of being
Because they got screwed
politically
up.
correct, because if it's too far from where you mention the name, they may not associate it with the person you're thinking of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I try to use actual names more often.
Well, that was a sidetrack. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me take a phone call. You're on the air.
Or for God's sakes, the worst thing is with the factors that we have. Seriously, he's one of the most wonderful people in the entire world when you go through the whole thing. David King.
Oh, David King. Yeah, just wonderful as well as many
John Gizzy, and we have Neil McCabe.
Yep.
And
I haven't had him on in a while. Give him a call.
And we have all these people that call in that are wonderful people to have on the air. And I just wanted to. The thing is that Madison has a prayer group, and you have a prayer group, and a whole bunch of other people. For God's sake, can we all pray? Because of the fact that it just works. I don't know why, but it does.
You know
why.
See, buddy. He knows why.
Well, it's been my experience that he's correct.
Yeah, it does. It does. My fact checker just sent me something on Tesla. Tesla obtains a permit to operate ride haul services in Arizona.
Is it all of the state?
That's big. I would assume so. He said Arizona. It's permitted in the state.
Wow, that is a big.
So we need to talk to our city and have him call and be a test site or something.
I'd like to see that. That'd be great.
I would a lot. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Porter, Russ, Dean.
Ted.
Definition of wagon. Wagging your tongue.
Oh, that's different kind of wagon. Political term.
Wagging your tongue.
All right.
We have a representative in Michigan, female.
Uh-huh.
She is calling for our troops to go AWL or AWOL, whatever, and do not take orders from their commanding officers.
It's kind of insurrection.
Well, that'll help thin them out a little bit,
She told them, do not obey your orders.
Well,
with this Venezuela and all.
I don't know what percentage of the military is going to do that, but it's somewhere well less than 1.
Now, Patton went through this during the Second World War. Yeah. Politicians got involved in our little escapade in North Africa and all.
Yeah.
She needs to be held accountable for that.
You would think she's absolutely calling for troops to desert and to go AWOL. That's crazy.
I'd have to look at the actual words.
There are some young minds, even in our military, that might think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And for her to do that is a criminal act. If one of them so much as gets hurt because of it.
Well, I would hope so. I would like to see more done, and that may be censuring or something, within the body that she's in. But something should be addressed that starts deeming those kinds of activities, not acceptable.
And maybe others. I saw. Let's see, who was it? It was one of Trump's advisors, very sharp. The name is coming to mind. Said that there were several Democrats that were making similar statements.
Yeah.
Did you hear what Burchett called AOC?
No.
His friendly Marxist.
Well, that's nice of him. It's nice to put friendly in front of Marxists.
It's friendly Marxist.
Yeah.
It's about time they stood up on their hind legs and call them out what they are.
I'm curious how the Democrats are going to handle the Marxist and communist type titles during the primaries.
Yes, good point.
Are they going to go at each other's throats on that and say, well, my opponent's a committed Marxist communist. I'm just a Democrat.
Well, Hochul's already hugging him like he's her teddy bear.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Mandani?
Yeah. Hochul's already hugging him like She's just doing that to make sure she stays in office.
That's exactly it. She has no popularity on her own. She wants to hang on to that, Mandani, because that's her ticket to possibly being reelected.
I know.
It would be great though if Mandani refuses to endorse her. She's not communist enough for me. Yeah.
He needs her like a tick on a dog. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that guy's going to survive. I don't know if Mandani can survive the whole term, and I mean that politically, not in a Democrat way, but politically, I think he's got so many factions that are already recognizing that the potential disaster politically in New York and financially and everything. That I don't know. I don't know how it's going to be. We'll see.
Well, we need to stick
it's going to be a great big experiment going on.
That's a great test about reality.
Foot in the sand and call these people out and keep calling them out and keep calling them out and showing what they're doing. They're so stupid. It's all on tape about all that stuff with Madami and his cohorts that hate America and all. Put it on the screen and just keep playing it.
Yeah, and that's why I wonder about the primaries or the middle of the road Democrats going to start pointing that out. It would be interesting if they do.
Yeah, middle of the road Democrats are getting rare.
Yeah,
I like to point this out to them. I got 7 family members buried in Arlington Cemetery that fought for this country, and fought for this Constitution, and I'm sick of them. I'm sick of their Marxist, communist, Muslim bullcrap.
Well,
Put
good.
a foot in the sand and kick them out.
All right, and I'm not disagreeing, but that's up to the voters, man. And voters right now are disillusioned for whatever reason, and they need to. We need to better inform. We need to get a hold of those young minds. And
when the Democrats get back in power, they're going to build on the side of the White House. They're going to tear down that ballroom and they're going to put up a Walmart.
I mean, they're making some of that rhetoric. I think it's absolutely insane for them to do so. I think the ballroom is pretty popular among Americans.
Yeah, but that's only 95%.
Yeah, right. It's an 80-20 issue or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's being built with private donations.
Yeah,
his money, his and his buddies.
Yes,
I know. But we've got lawmakers that are going to run on the promise that I will tear it down
and build a Walmart.
They didn't say Walmart, but that's interesting. Will it have gas, you think?
Yeah, they'll have gas pumps.
Okay, all right.
Venezuela crude will be sold at the White House at the Walmart.
All right, I appreciate it, man.
Just remember, Fitco is Venezuelan.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
All right, bye.
Walmart, not going to happen there because it'd be hard to get over the fence to get to the Walmart.
It's the far left Democrats seem to me have just gone over the edge. I see this thing with the Epstein files where they box themselves into a corner.
Yeah, we need to talk about that a little bit because when a lot of questions come up about the Epstein files, like why did the Trump administration drag their feet? They were getting some people grumbling about it. There were from the conservatives, the MAGA, the Republicans were grumbling about it, and the left saw a weakness and started chipping and attacking and saying that Trump's hiding.
Yeah.
And there's things there and all that, and that went on and for way too long. And I was uncomfortable. I was like, well, why doesn't he just release it? Bondi promised it, then that was a big fiasco and all that. So he just kept holding back, and then the fervor to get it out from the left was so great. He just released it, and they attacked it, like hungry dogs or something, going after it. There was nothing there at Trump.
Well,
it was all
Trump,
about all Democrats.
There's plenty of Democrats. It looked to me, and I was sort of looking at this like maybe Trump is setting a trap, and I think maybe he did. And when you have almost unanimous support in the House to pass the thing, this 427-1 or something like that, and you look at it, And all these Democrats, I see it this way. This is my opinion. The Republicans know that it's going to be bad for the Democrats. And the Democrats thought it was going to be bad for Trump.
Well, the only thing that's come out about Trump is a realization of how much Epstein hated him because Trump barred him from everything. That's the only thing came out of it. There was no improper connection.
That's what I'm saying. It's the Democrats had a bad understanding of reality. They were told so much that Trump is in there and he's hiding stuff, and it was Trump derangement syndrome, and it wasn't real. There wasn't any there.
But the thing we did find, and it's out there, is Hakeem Jeffries' name pops.
Yes.
Obama is in there.
Yes.
Bill Clinton more times than they thought, and he was a lot in there. We knew.
Right.
Everyone expects that, including the Democrats.
We find out that Epstein was on the phone with a Democratic congresswoman telling her what questions she should direct at Trump.
Correct. Correct. So, and I got a story on that, too, because that's a big deal.
It is. I mean, anybody associated with Epstein is evil, except a lot more Democrats were associated with him.
Well, they were beating the drum, Epstein files, for the last 8 months.
Yes.
They've been beating it, that we got to get the Epstein files out. Trump's hiding something. We need to pour through them. Well, it's all Democrats that are popping up. I haven't heard of another Republican name, and I assume there's got to be some.
Well, you'd think there would be, but maybe not. I mean, I think it is what it is. I mean, of course, you can make any conspiracy theory sound convincing if you're willing to make it complicated enough and ignore all opposition evidence.
Yeah.
And that's what I think the Democrats are trying to do, but it isn't working.
Well, right after it was released, one of the emails came up about Trump, and that email exonerates him.
Right.
But they censored out a name.
Right, and they sort of tried to imply that it meant opposite of what it did.
And then, there was a twist on it that, well, this means he was like fooling around somehow. And it didn't. In fact, the young lady's name that was censored, I don't think she was underage. And not only that, she said Trump was a savior and somebody that helped her and all that. And she wrote a book about it.
Yeah.
And he was mentioned in there as not as a good guy.
Right.
And that lady went on and killed herself later, committed suicide.
Yeah, Ghislaine, I think. I'm trying to remember her name. I'll mispronounce it if I try. I'll give it up.
So Trump has got nothing in it, like he said, and he comes out and says, "Okay, I've released everything; it's all out there. Now let's get to work. It doesn't mean anything." He's still looking at it like it doesn't mean anything, but of course, that just makes him dig deeper and find more Democrats.
Yeah, I essentially that's how I think the Democrats are still operating under the delusion that the media is on their side.
Yeah,
but it's not anymore. I mean, sure, there's plenty of places that are MSNBC, CNN, the usual suspects, but there's a lot of other places that are not. We have this fractured partisan media, which is the way it was when the country was founded and the First Amendment was ratified. And so that's why it's working better now. For decades, we had a media that was essentially unified under an ideology, progressivism, and they put out the same stories. I remember when I was maybe early teens, maybe a little later, thinking, if we have a free press, why do all the networks carry the same stories with the same slant all the time?
Well, not only that, the same talking points to the word.
Exactly. That got more and more as time went on. But
and we've seen montages of it, that hit, and where you'll see, 30 different news anchors say the exact same phrase.
Yeah.
On the same night.
Yeah, Russ was really good at
he did a lot of that. He did a lot of that. And it just becomes ridiculous.
And then you realize, we're being played. These people don't have our interest at heart.
Somebody puts a script out and everyone has to say it.
Yeah, that's what happens.
It still goes on.
Yes. But there's so many other sources now that it's not effective or not as effective. Now, if you only look at those sources, and that's what I would call the leftist information bubble or the Democratic Party information bubble, however you work at it, then you never see anything else. And you say, well, how can you say that Trump wasn't involved with Epstein? Everybody's told us he was.
Oh, If they're still in the blue bubble, they still.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they still think it.
The blue bubble. That's a good name.
That's not changing. That's what they should have called their social media.
But I think that bubble is shrinking.
Yeah, it's not rapid.
It's like a balloon with a slow leak.
It is. It's not rapid. It moves slowly.
Yeah.
In fact, we had a Republican meeting last night, which was really, really a great meeting. A lot of great speakers. 2 corporation commissioners came down, and
you're making me wish I had gone.
Michael Cohen was there and spoke, and Steve Seal, he's the assessor. Talked about what he's doing and all that. And we had like Michelle Pena in the audience, David Lara in the audience.
Great stuff.
It was a great. I mean, and we had a Democrat elected official.
Cool.
That showed up to take notes and spy, whatever.
Well, whatever.
No, it doesn't matter. That's fine. They're always.
It's an open meeting. Anybody can show up.
Absolutely, we're glad to do it. It was Senator Brian Fernandez.
Okay.
Was there, and which was fine. In fact, we thought he wants to come back on the radio again, and he's somebody we can talk to. It doesn't mean he's got Republican ideals, but
just the fact that he's willing to talk is kind of positive.
Sure, it is. To have a dialogue instead of a hate fest or a name calling fest.
Right.
Or something, I mean, there's a lot of programs he champions that I would be very, very much against, but he's willing to talk about it, and that's rare. All too often.
It has, yes, it's been rare. You're right.
Yeah. We got one senator in Washington that will talk. He had brain damage. And he healed.
That's what people make a joke about that. And when they fixed Finnerman's brain, he became more like a Republican.
I don't think he's going to last long. Someone's going to primary him.
I don't know what'll happen there. I mean, it's a kind of purple state.
Yeah.
And frankly, he may be dumb like a fox and realizing what his electorate wants.
He looks at issues on the basis of issues and not, well, what's the party say I have to say?
Right. But
that's not very common on either side.
Is something like 85 or 95% of his votes are with the Democratic Party.
Yeah, he's still very much a Democrat. He's not looking to change.
Right.
But some of the stuff like the government shutdown offended him.
He sounds a lot more reasonable than most Democrats do.
He seems to focus on what's good for the citizens.
I think he has a much better grasp of reality.
Yeah.
And which is hard to, you say, well, gee, he had problems with his thinking. Well, I guess they fixed it.
He was very against the shutdown and saying it's harming people.
Right.
We can't do that. It's expensive. It's harming people. We can't do it. And he was against it from the second it started.
Yes. And articulate about it and well informed.
No, but he's big enough to make up for the lack of articulation. Yeah.
Yeah.
He fills a room.
He does.
I don't know how tall he is, but with the hoodie, he looks tall.
Guy.
Yeah. Interesting guy. One of the more interesting guys up there. When his name's mentioned, I like to pay attention.
He's become nationally known because of this too.
Well, and so is Crockett.
Oh yeah,
Crockett's become nationally known, but for totally different reasons.
Almost opposite reasons.
She became ghetto.
She does that affect. She's very good at speaking ghetto or Ebonics or whatever you want to call it.
But she's really an articulate, educated woman.
She's very educated, and
she grew up with a lot of money, a lot of private schools,
right?
And when she was first running in campaigning, she spoke like an educated person.
A Harvard educated person or something.
Yeah, now she's from the hood.
Well, she sounds that way. Yeah.
I'll be right back. AM 560.
Partly cloudy skies today with a high of 65. Partly cloudy and 50 tonight. Sunny and 69 Thursday. Cloudy with rain developing late Thursday night with a low of 54. Rain on Friday with a high of 62.
Why are cornucopias part of a Thanksgiving tradition? More in a moment.
Ed Whitehead's Tire Pro has been serving Arizona for over 20 years. Dune season is here, so ask about specialty tires for your toys. We also do alignments, brakes, oil changes, AC work, inspections, preventive maintenance, and more. Get your tires at any of our 4 Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros locations. Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros wishes you all a happy holiday season. From our family to yours. And cheers to a safe and prosperous 2026 at Whitehead's Tire Pros. Yeah, we got tires for that.
The cornucopia is a symbol of abundance, especially around Thanksgiving. Where did the horn of plenty originate? The exact origin of the cornucopia isn't well documented, but horns contributing to nourishment and abundance are found in a few ancient myths. The most well-known is that of the infant god Zeus, accidentally broke off the horn of Amalthea, the goat that was nourishing him as a foster mother. That broken horn poured forth with unending nourishment to sustain the young god.
Listen to KBLU from 8 to 9 every Monday morning to Life, Death, and the Law. Sean Garner and Adam Hansen discuss estate planning options. Learn how you can plan your estate using a will or trust to protect your family and secure your legacy. That's Life, Death, and the Law every Monday, 8 to 9 a.m. on 560 KBLU.
All right, do-it-yourselfer, you've got the idea, and you got your building supplies at Southwest Lumber. That's right. Now, all you need is a bunch of expensive tools to get the job done.
Oh, that's right.
And you know just the place to rent them. Southwest Lumber, your home for everything home improvement. Southwest Lumber has half-day to multiple-day rentals available on just about anything you need to finish the job. Rent equipment and tools on Saturday and Sunday. It's free. Stop in today at 1917 South Avenue B in Yuma. Southwest Lumber, ready for everything.
For 83 years, Avenir Financial has served this corner of Arizona that we call home, helping local individuals and families breathe a little easier and live a little freer. With checking accounts that keep up with your busy life, savings tools to help build your future, and flexible lending that makes more possible. All from a credit union that started right here in this community. We are Avenir Financial, 100% human, 100% your local credit union for 83 years. Insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
November is the month of deals at Firearms Unknown. The clock is ticking, so don't let a day go by without a Firearms Unknown daily deal. With daily deals up to 90% off. Firearms Unknown is your holiday headquarters. Take advantage of our daily deals at our Yuma store or online through November. Don't forget to come back on Black Friday for our one-day-only super deals on guns, ammo, knives, targets, and accessories for the shooter on your shopping list. Firearms Unknown, 801 West 32nd Street or firearmsunknown.com.
The air is crisp. The sky is clear. It's the best riding weather of the year. Before the holidays and family commitments take over, make sure you carve out some time for yourself and the open road. Bobby's Territorial Harley-Davidson has the latest motorcycles ready to roll. The accessories and gear you need to maximize your ride time, plus clothing, collectibles, and housewares that will make any Harley enthusiast's heart rev. Whether you're ready to upgrade or just need the latest performance gear to keep you in comfort, they have everything you need. Don't let the season pass you by. Visit Bobby's Territorial Harley-Davidson today on East Keeler Ridge Road in Yuma.
To be a part of Russ's show, call 928-344-5258. That's 928-344-5258.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation, one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo.
There's a man in D.C. He's dancing.
Hey, I'm fine. You Dean's there.
I'm glad to be here.
You want to talk about AI and
yeah,
is AI
well, can create documents and images and things that look real, but
giving those sombreros on Hakeem for Jeffries were not real.
That's right. And in about the last 10 days, I had 2 articles sent to me by people who thought they were real, sources of mine, said, hey, you need to see this. And then one that I, in a search, found by myself, and they all were, in essence, completely fake, but they could fool you if you weren't a subject matter expert. Like one of them was about supposedly 9 hunters being killed by a grizzly bear up in Alaska this July.
I remember when you mentioned that too.
And it never happened. I mean, but they had names and a place, and
it was such a small incident. You wouldn't think there's probably no secondary source.
Right.
It wasn't worth writing
that's
about.
One of the ways that I checked it. I said, I don't remember anything like this ever happening. And I keep track of that
because
stuff.
it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. There was no coverage.
But yet it got got viral? Did it go out?
Well, it was out there enough that one of my sources said, "Hey, look at this bear attack. That's a big thing for you." And it wasn't real. And there have been others, less prominent ones, where people just make up stories about bear attacks. And then when, of course, I'm interested, when I look and I start saying, well, wait a minute, I don't remember this ever happening. And then it turns out to be completely made up.
I think it's real, and sometimes I watch YouTube, get a lot of news, and occasionally I'll wander and put something interesting on.
Yeah.
And
these are all on YouTube.
Yeah. But when I do it, I have to point out to Helen at times, well, that's obviously AI.
Yes.
You can tell if you look at it.
If you know what to look for and you're careful.
Yeah.
And so the bear story was one. And then there was one, I think I called you up about it, about a gigantic war between the U.S. military operating with local police and the cartels here in Yuma, where the police chief was supposedly targeted, and everybody went onto the military bases, the safe houses, because they were targeted for assassination.
Yeah, I don't think that was real.
And it wasn't real.
No.
And they had, the thing that finally,
but there's a lot of that kind of stuff on YouTube.
There is, and I'm looking at this particular one. They mentioned the president of Mexico, and I said, that's not the president of Mexico. AI or whatever had gotten a former president's brother as the president that's now in charge. And it was wrong. And I said, oh, that's obviously wrong. And then I was even more careful about looking at it. And I said, this is all wrong. But they took a lot of things from separate articles. I'm thinking the AI did this, that had headlines that sort of fed into this, and then weave it into this false narrative that sounds real.
I think I'm being sued currently by AI.
Yeah.
Well, there was when I owned Napa Auto Parts, back in for many years, there was a murder in Somerton where.
Yeah, I remember you saying something about this now.
Yeah. Well, in 2009, there was a murder. And that murder was a driver out of California that delivered our freight every night. And not my employee, but somebody I knew.
Right.
And he delivered to the store in the middle of the night. They had keys in a drop-off area. And he was murdered, which was like in Somerton, which was just horrific. And I remember, 2:00 in the morning getting the call and all. But anyway, I worked with the family a little bit, and then I got sued by them. So I couldn't talk to them anymore. I got sued for a wrongful death, like I didn't have armed security guards at 2:00 in the morning to protect him, type stuff.
Yeah, somebody who wasn't your employee.
No, not. Yeah, but anyway, he, that eventually went. The insurance company, I didn't really follow very much. So the insurance company took care of all of it.
Right.
They had the lawyers, and I had to do a deposition or something about the protocols of the store, which we had lighting and cameras and stuff.
Right.
In fact, we gave the cameras to the cops who had the perpetrators of the crime on video.
Yeah.
So, it was all, and it all got thrown out of court. A couple of years. It all got thrown out. Well, I got sued by the same family for the same thing about a month ago. It came through for $10 million for loss of life, which of course it's many years later. That was 2009. And but they said it was a RICO case because we were operating an illegal activity. And now this daughter did it all herself, and it was like 36 pages of complaint, with 72 different items, and it looks like AI wrote it all, but it has me as a RICO case working with the major companies, working with her lawyer to conspire to defraud her and of their justifiable rights or whatever for the death of the father.
And it's all nonsense.
And then I still work with them today. I still work with Genuine Parts Company today. I still work with other players and stuff, which I haven't had any connection in decades, a decade at least, and at all, none. I don't work with any of that stuff. And that we were running a criminal operation, and I only sold it because of the death of this employee. But it's all, I have to take it all seriously. I mean, it's in the hands of lawyers.
That's right. And things can happen.
But it looks,
our tort system is messed up.
It first appears, it looks like a lawyer wrote it. And I sent it to George, and George says, I've never seen anything so sloppy and stupid, because we could get the RICO case thrown out and all that stuff, but at what expense to me? I mean, I have to prove it.
Yeah.
And what's that at $250 an hour? I mean, I don't know.
Or more.
Yeah. So it's just, of course, you got Genuine Parts Company, which is Napa corporate, involved in the case. Me, the current owner, which I'm supposed to still be working with the current owner, which we haven't spoken to yet.
And we've had, this was, I think.
But I think it was AI written, is what I think. I think
you're very likely true. We had a case about over a year ago where a lawyer got in trouble because he was using AI to write his brief, and the AI made up citations for cases that never existed and put them in the brief.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and when the court found that out, and they looked at the citation, and wait, there isn't any such case. He got kind of in trouble. So you can have serious problems crop up. But one of the things, talking about court cases, it was the third fake story that I came across. It was claiming that there was a Supreme Court decision against President Trump and against the Second Amendment that had basically nullified the last 20 years of Supreme Court decisions. And I'm looking at it, I said, this is nuts. I haven't heard anything about this.
I wonder what YouTube does about that. I mean, what's the policy on that?
I don't know. I don't know if they have a policy on it, but it was all made up. It was all fake. And the problem is, if you don't have expertise in the field they're talking about, it can seem very genuine.
And you realize that AI is in its infancy right now, and it's pretty good.
Well, yeah, these large language models are just one type of AI, and they are generally not super smart.
But I'm even talking the graphics and stuff.
The graphics are incredible. And you look at some of the engineering and mathematics stuff, these people do things that would have taken a team of lower level engineers, months. They do it in a few seconds now.
Well, to do Snow White back when Disney had it, it was thousands of artists and stuff, and putting papers together and then flipping them for the frame by frame. And
right.
Now you could probably do that whole Disney show in a day.
Probably.
Yeah.
Then there's a lot of things like that are being produced out there. But the technical AI is doing very well, and it is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So people say for engineering AI, it actually can replace a lot of people. I don't know if this large language, to me, it doesn't seem nearly as smart in terms of what it can do.
We could never replace Connie Aribi with AI. At least that's what I hear. Anyway.
Yeah,
she's my guest coming in. Did you know that? Yeah. I guess you just figured that out, didn't you?
Well, I looked and there she was, and I went, "Wow, this is great."
Obviously, trouble's a miss for Connie coming here to fix it.
Talk to her off the air and some questions.
Oh, you have questions? She likes that.
Yes,
she likes that.
I've always been a fan.
Speaking of questions and health department, 37 cases overdoses. Let me see, 30 overdose cases eligible for review in 2024. 37 drug overdose cases in 24, which is 3 less than the previous year. So we're making progress.
Well, maybe. Are they? I wonder what drugs they're for. That's one of the things.
It doesn't really say, but don't you think fentanyl?
That's my first thought was, but we have had a lot of problems with meth too.
Have we?
Yes.
Good morning, Connie. You can say hello. Are you awake at this time in the morning?
No, but my sleepy version is
she doesn't need them.
Is able to talk.
You can talk.
I make pretty good decisions in my sleep, actually.
A lot of people do.
Hopefully you remember it when you wake up.
No.
Okay, well, that's okay then.
Yeah, not always, but I've done some very intelligent things in my sleep, so my subconscious works very well.
Works very well. I think you do okay on your feet. You gain traction and attention on your feet.
Oh, definitely. I think my picture's still in the post office.
Is it? It really is still on the wanted list.
Yeah. Good to see you.
A pleasure.
Yeah, always.
Doctor, do you do much medical anymore? I know
Yes.
you're kind of retired.
No, I
No.
don't use the R word.
You don't do that?
No, I
No.
don't do that. No.
You're in a slowdown?
Uh,
Maybe she does what she wants
That's
now.
it, yeah.
Actually, what I wind up doing is I wind up doing what other doctors should be doing.
Uh-oh.
I talk about this. I mentioned this the other night at the hospital district board meeting. There is no longer a focus on healthcare. There's a focus on health coverage.
Wow.
Doctors don't care, and they're taught not to care about people's health. They just care about whether or not the boxes are checked. And so what will happen is a physician will call a doctor's office and say, I'm running down my blood pressure medicine the end of the month.
Mhm.
And they'll say, oh, well, we can get you in the second week in February.
Right.
Well, that doesn't help. They need coverage until the end of the month. They just need to have their prescription filled. And if they need to come and see the doctor, oh, you need to come and see the doctor. We were taught way back in 19 when I was in medical school that we needed to cut down the cost of healthcare. And
Yeah.
one of the ways of doing it was doing simple things like if you had a healthy 20-year-old coming in to have their appendix out, they didn't need to have a chest X-ray. I mean, that
Okay.
cuts down the cost.
Right.
They didn't need to have an EKG. You just put them asleep and take their appendix out.
You think they don't think in those terms
They
anymore?
don't take those terms anymore.
Right.
And this is what's driving the cost of healthcare up.
Oh, I think there's a lot.
And right. And
That's
so
one of it.
now, and we were taught if a woman calls you, because urinary tract infections are very common in women.
Sure.
And if a lady calls you and you've taken care of her for years, and she says, remember that bladder infection I had before, that urinary tract infection I had? Well, I've got it again, same symptoms and everything. It was perfectly appropriate to call in a prescription for her.
Right.
And then you could check her later on down the line, and but they don't do that. They make you come in, they make you have the urinalysis there, they wait till the cultures get back. I actually had an old patient of mine wind up in what I call the expensive care unit, and she was in urosepsis. She almost died because she was an invalid and could not get to the doctor's office.
Wow.
And they would not order the antibiotics for her.
Wow.
And she almost died.
Wow.
But unfortunately, she didn't call me. I would have ordered the antibiotics for her. But this is a lot of what I do now. My old patients will call me and they'll say, Dr. Eby, we're sorry, but we need to get our blood pressure refilled. We need to get our thyroid refilled. We need to get.
So docs are requiring everybody to come in. I'm sure that's an insurance thing, a billable thing.
It is. It is. And we were taught, this is one of the ways you can cut down on the cost of healthcare. And they don't do this anymore. They simply don't do it. And it's not that you don't follow up on these patients. You do follow up on them, but you don't do it right that moment. You take care of the patient.
And you're aware that healthcare expenses more than doubled, and that was a few years ago, and it's gone up greatly since then. I mean, it just seems to be no end to what it costs.
Absolutely, absolutely. And and now they add on these little things. I think I hear patients tell me that our hospital here has facility charges. You walk into the office and they see that they're being billed a facility charge or something like this. Things that I've never heard of before. Just very odd stuff that, of course, on the district board we're checking into to see if this is real. And just things like this. This is what's totally inappropriate. And so this is the kind of thing that I'm interested in investigating, because we become our own worst enemy.
We just had a shutdown, and a lot of it had to do with healthcare, supposedly.
Well, that had to do with a different kind of healthcare.
I understand. Healthcare for illegals and Obamacare and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
But healthcare is going to be a focal point, and it's going to be one going forward. Overall, And Trump has talked about, and no real plan that I've seen from him yet, but he's saying, give the money to the people, let them find good health care themselves or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The best way to work on it is you have an office visit. Well, let's say something breaks down in your house. Your plumbing breaks down. What do? You call a plumber, you pay the plumber.
Right.
Okay, so you get a cold, your kid gets a cold, whatever. Go to the doctor, you pay the doctor. What would happen in a situation like that is that the doctor's office would not bill the insurance company some exorbitant amount, like 300 and some odd dollars or something. You'd wind up paying like maybe $50 or $60 for the visit.
Right.
And it would just be done.
Right. But there's a middleman now on every transaction.
Absolutely. And that middleman is called Medicare.
Yeah.
And that's what started in the 60s. And from then on, it just started circling the drain of life.
Right.
And when I say it, I'm referring to the quality of healthcare.
Well, apparently the medical companies have done tremendously well, and their stocks are hugely increased, like 1,000% in over the last few years.
That's right.
Since Obamacare started, Obamacare was open.
Well, and the CEOs fly around in Learjets.
Yeah, they do a great job. I think we need to make them go to the Corporation Commission before they have any rate increases. Have them handle it. They can keep it in line.
Well, ideally, you should have some kind of catastrophic care available. I think insurance is a good idea, just like you have insurance on your home,
Or your car or
somebody
something if
or your
wrecked.
car or something.
Yeah.
So if you do need an operation, then you've got this backup to help you take care of it. But for everyday
Have a cold.
business,
Yeah.
you just go to the doctor and you pay a bill. It would just plummet the amount of coverage of cost to
Paperwork.
to the individual patient would just absolutely plummet and take out that middleman.
Yeah.
I think that's the system they have in Switzerland. They require major medical care, and they have several competing companies. But for everyday stuff, you pay it yourself.
Yeah, and it's cost, it's catastrophic, and it's charity. And I remember one of the just absolutely sweetest things I saw as a physician was this lady needed an operation. It wasn't life-threatening or anything, but it was something that she really needed to have done. And a church here in Yuma got together, took up a collection, and I talked to the hospital. Now, this was when we had Yuma Regional Medical Center, and it was a really good hospital. It was a safe hospital. We had, quality physicians who had been there for years. We all knew each other. We were one big family. And this lady's church got together, took up a collection. I talked to anesthesiologists. I talked to other people involved. I talked to the hospital. Everybody cut this lady a major discount, and she got her operation. And the church was really happy. It was, but that's the third C is charity. People will do that. They will come together and help other people.
Right. Hospital bills, a lot of people don't understand when a hospital says that procedure's $4,000, the hospital never gets paid for by the insurance companies. They're going to get the insurance companies have huge built-in discounts. And
that's not really the way it works.
It does, though. But Blue Cross Blue Shield has contracts with the hospital for discounts. No?
Well, discount's a funny word.
Yeah.
What they do is they give them an allowable, accountable amount. There's a fee. There's an accountable fee that they get for a certain procedure, and that's it. And everything, unfortunately, winds up over the years has wound up being based on Medicare.
Yes.
So they talk about in terms of Medicare plus 10%, Medicare plus 20%, Medicare minus 10%, or whatever. So the government has just been able to take over and tell the insurance companies, give them the baseline.
Well, and tell the doctors what they're going to get. I don't.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
so the fee for service business has just gone down the drain.
Yeah. But when you see these huge bills, the hospital doesn't normally get all that. I mean, the insurance companies and the hospital have an agreement.
Yes, but what they'll do is they'll turn around and they'll try to bill the patient for the extra.
That's been happening. That has happened.
Yes, it has.
And if you can make an arrangement for a cash price, which I don't know if you can anymore, it's usually comes out a lot different than what the stated price is. We got to take a break. We'll be right back with Connie, AM 560 KBLU.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU. Yuma. Find a way to end war that keeps killing civilians. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Army Secretary Dan Driscoll is in Kyiv to meet with Ukrainian leaders and share military technology. As that country's president visits Turkey looking for more support trying to stop Russia, which launched another deadly attack, killing at least 20 people, injuring 66.
President Volodymyr Zelensky called it a brave attack in Ternopil in western Ukraine. 9-story apartment blocks were hit. People could still be trapped in the rubble. 3 districts of the country's second largest city, Kharkiv, were also struck by a massive drone attack. In total, Russia fired more than 470 drones and 47 missiles overnight.
Fox 2007. President Trump's approved Saudi purchase of American fighter jets,
designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally.
He said that while hosting Saudi leader Mohammed bin Salman at a dinner.
President rolled the red carpet for the Saudi crown prince. And in return, NBS brought President Trump a big check.
Day and tomorrow, announced that we are going to increase the $200 billion to $1 trillion. And this is really a real opportunity by details in many areas.
Later on today, during a business summit at the Kennedy Center, the leaders will be joined by the heads of Chevron, Qualcomm, Cisco, General Dynamics, and Pfizer, among others.
Anticipated to see the White House with the president again called to push for the release of all the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking files, a hoax, but he'll have nothing to hide. The Senate unanimously approved the resolution compelling the justice to they hand over the files after the House also passed it with just one no vote. Annie Farmer is an Epstein victim.
This is not an issue of a few corrupt Democrats or a few corrupt Republicans. This is a case of institutional betrayal. Yeah. Because these crimes were not properly investigated, so many more girls and women were harmed.
America's listening to Fox News. You probably heard factor commercials where somebody says to his spouse regarding his pain, "You don't understand. It's gone." Well, Sharon told us that's exactly how she feels. She wrote to me, "Glenn, Relief Factor helped me so much. I plan on taking it for the rest of my life. I'm a walking testimonial." For me, it was more like Tanya twisting my arm to give Relief Factor a try. I heard about Relief Factor, all natural, by doctors, blah, blah. I really agreed to try it, not in thinking it would work. I just wanted to get her to stop telling me to do something and prove her wrong. Well, she was right, again, of course, and I got my life back. Not only did I not have to live in pain, I could thrive again. If pain has been holding you back, maybe it's time you found out why so many people just like Sharon, just like me, make Relief Factor part of their daily routine. 2 out of 3 people who try go on to order more month after month. I'm one of them. Try the 3-week quick start today. See how it works. Visit relieffactor.com. 800, the number 4 relief. 800, number 4 relief. 800 4 relief.
Good morning from the News 11 Information Desk. I'm Danielle Brooks-North. The Yuma County Department presented new statistics on local Yuma County Anti-Drug Coalition meeting. The county says 37 drug overdose cases were eligible for review in 2024, which is 3 less than the previous year. Meanwhile, the highest total they've seen in the past 4 years was in 2021, with 56 cases eligible for review. And researchers at the University of Arizona are finding new ways to defend one of Yuma's most important winter vegetables. The researchers are using the plant Ulysses to help fight thrips and organic lettuce. Thrips are insects that spread a dangerous disease into winter vegetables. Since organic farming is strict on chemical sprays, researchers used a non-toxic way to combat the insects. The plan is for thrips to be attracted to trailer pools of these listeners. Join us on the TV side for News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 for the local news, weather, and sports. I'm Danielle.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. Connie Reeby's here. Dean will be back. Connie, what did you come in to talk about business with the district?
Yes, I wanted to make an announcement.
I'm curious, and the district has been really interesting the last few years.
Well, we've had a lot of fun.
The spat with the hospital and all, but that's all behind us now.
No,
Okay, the
No.
lawsuit's behind us.
the lawsuit is behind us.
Okay,
Both lawsuits are behind us.
okay, good.
So
And I know you gave the money back.
we
to
gave
the
the taxes back to
taxpayer,
the yes. In fact, that's the only time in the history of the state of Arizona
Right.
where a county voluntarily gave back property taxes, and I think that
Yeah.
says something for Yuma. It's really neat.
I really liked it, but because usually a politician will find a way to grab that because I'm sure we need it somewhere.
Yeah,
But went back where it should have gone. That's great.
yeah. Well, we said in the beginning when we levied the tax that we were going to give back.
And just to explain to everybody, the district board actually owns the property where the hospital is, and they went out and found the organization, developed the organization to run the hospital, and they have some oversight. They charge rent, but the rent's like a nominal fee of nothing almost.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. It's a little more. Okay. Because you have to have reserves now for potential lawsuits.
We well, in psychology, there are 3 levels of action. One is positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement. Third one is punishment, and sometimes you have to levy a little punishment.
Okay. So there's more of a rent factor now because it used to be.
Yeah, we have to charge more rent.
Okay,
And
good.
one of the things we're doing with that extra rent we're charging is we're trying to make ourselves more aware to the public, because before I came on board, 6, 7 years ago, whenever it was, most of the people in Yuma had no idea what a district board was.
Correct.
They just didn't have any idea. So we're trying to make ourselves more aware so they understand what our position is. So the reason I'm here today is to announce, and it's already been out there somewhere, not this Saturday, but the 29th, which is the Saturday after Thanksgiving, we are holding a healthcare awareness expo at the Civic Center. It's being sponsored by the Hospital District Board, the district board. And what we're doing is we are offering the people of Yuma for free, admission is free, and we're offering them an opportunity to actually meet, greet, and talk with a lot of healthcare providers here in Yuma. So these healthcare providers will actually be at the Civic Center, and you can go and talk to a lot of specialists and general practitioners and see what's available, because a lot of people aren't aware that some of these practitioners actually exist.
Right.
Most of them are not involved with the hospital.
A lot of doctors are not involved with the hospital locally. So
There are quite a few. That's correct. So, and a lot of them will be there, and people can come and.
Now, will the hospital also be involved in this, or is this
the hospital was invited, but I did not receive an RSVP.
All right.
And so it should be a lot of fun. You can also meet the members of the district board. Several of us.
And maybe get an explanation what the district board does. I mean, not a lot of people know that it was formed before the hospital. In fact, the district board had to, get the hospital started, get the hospital going.
Right. This goes back to when the hospital was down on Avenue B, and the federal government, the Department of Interior, actually gave the land up on 24th Street to the people of Yuma with the understanding that they would elect a board, a 5-person board that would be responsible for leasing that property to an organization that would build a hospital. But the hospital, the land, and everything in the hospital actually belongs to the district.
Right.
And the district takes up most of Yuma County except for a little area around Heber, which is way over by Maricopa County. And for some reason, they voted themselves out. They wanted to be associated with Maricopa. But for the most part, Yuma Hospital District number 1 takes up almost all of Yuma County.
And when you say elected, that means elected by the citizens, not elected by.
No, elected by the property owners.
And you have taxing ability, but you never used it until recently because of the.
That's exactly right. It's what they call a taxing district, and we can levy a tax, and we don't have to ask anybody's permission to do so. We don't have to get permission from the governor, the legislator, the board of supervisors, the board of supervisors, excuse me. Right. Anyway, city council, anybody.
Making friends this morning, Dean.
Yeah, I always am. Don't get me started on that. Anyway, but the hospital has, there's always been a little back and forth interest and conversation going on between the hospital operating board, which is the actual, well, you served on it, Russ.
Right, for 9 years. Yeah.
Right. The operating board, which is its function is to run the place, and the hospital district board, which isn't supposed to tell the hospital how to do things. But it is supposed to be responsible for overseeing that the quality of care is maintained within the district. And what happened in August of 2019 was that the hospital just decided to shut out the district board completely.
Yep, we don't need you.
They just stopped giving all the reports. They stopped.
No financials anymore.
No financials, no nothing.
And the district board used to come to board meetings, operating board meetings every year. There'd be at least one that they would come and join us, members from the operating board. And that was all cut out. You were all not allowed. It was all secretive.
Anyway, it was that was really not what this lawsuit was based on. But it was, when you get down to the nitty gritty, it was fairly childish.
Yeah.
And it was just a couple of kids that were kind of having a fight in the sandbox. And it cost an awful lot of money. It just cost a tremendous amount of money.
The citizens of this county wrote the checks, unfortunately.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And so God bless the people of Yuma. We taxed them. Now, Michelle Headington said on TV that they got all kinds of calls from people wanting to know what this horrible tax was about and everything. It's funny because nobody came to the district board and asked us.
I don't think they know.
No. Nobody called the district board.
Nobody.
and the hospital could not produce any phone records.
Oh, okay.
See, here's what I'm saying. Nobody,
Okay.
Whoever complained, it was buried
You
somewhere.
you never got the message.
No, we never got the message, and so it's just very interesting. But anyway, as it stands right now, things are still not perfect.
Okay.
But we're going along, and my goal as chairman this past year has been to make the county aware of the district board's existence and what our job is and how we are there for them.
I think this thing on the 29th is going to go a long way for that, and give an opportunity to ask questions, more so one-on-one, especially the board member's going to be there, and you're going to be promoting doctors from all over, not just hospital doctors. And
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
No, that's
It's about
exactly right.
healthcare. Yeah.
And the doctors are very excited about it.
Good.
They're very excited about it. They want to meet the public. They want to get their word out as well. And we're very I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to be a good thing. And it's a good day. It's when people are winding down from Thanksgiving. And it's
A lot of them might have some indigestion problems they need to talk about with some.
They could, or somebody may come in with a turkey leg stuck in their neck, and it's the weekend after the gun show, so they can wind down from that. But
Yeah, it's good of you to do that. There's never been any real opportunities to explain what the district board is to the general population. I think they discovered you when the taxes got in.
yeah, I went on TV a couple of times with some ads, explaining what the district board was, and Dr. Curry did a radio ad here, and he was on talking about what we were doing with the taxes and how that was supposed to be temporary, and
it was.
And it was.
Yeah. But a lot of counties have taxes for the hospital. That's a normal part of their bills. Just is. We never did in Yuma. We always were able to get around it.
No, but like I said on a billboard out there on the highway, no lies, no excuses, just results.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't. We try very hard to be truthful.
Right.
And I think that's one thing that distinguishes us.
Is the Exceptional Hospital going to be on the event?
Yes. Yes, they are.
A lot of questions about them at times. I mean, I get questions and stuff and comments from people out in the foothills about Exceptional, but they're still in the district.
Yes, that's all in the district. They're in the county, they're in the district.
All right. But you don't have any connection with landlord or anything with them?
No.
Okay.
No. What we have connection with is that postage stamp on Avenue A and 24th Street.
Which is a substantial postage stamp. I mean, that's a lot of buildings and hardware. I mean, that's a lot of dollars.
Well, what they've been doing is they don't seem to understand that we actually have an interest in the money that is made there.
Right.
Now, they seem to think they can take the money and go and buy something over here, and then extend another octopus arm over here, and another one over here, and then they can turn around and sell that building, and then they can go buy something else, and they can go break ground somewhere else and start building something else, and that's of no interest to us. And we have to read about it in the paper.
Right.
And we learn everything second or third hand. I mean, the Chamber of Commerce hears about things before we do. And we're the district board. And if that money is generated on that postage stamp, which is where they get the money to do all of these things, it's my business. I'm chairman of that district board, and it's my business.
There's a lot of talk of them taking opportunities outside the district to buy additional properties outside, and hence the name change to Onvita, so it's not Yuma.
I have heard about 4 or 5 different, well, I won't say excuses, reasons for the name change.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite one is I was sitting in their boardroom, and I asked Michelle Headington, I said, "Where did you come up with this name Onvita?" And she says, "Well, it's the name Vida, the word vida, in Spanish means life." And I remember looking at her and saying, "You know, Uribe is not Polish." I said, "You know, my dad was a Mexican."
Uh-huh.
I said, "I know what Vida means. Now,
Mhm.
where did you come up with the name Onvita?" And she said, "Oh, it was just something the marketing people made up."
That's it.
And I said, "You know, that's the smartest answer I've heard." I have heard about 4 or 5 different excuses from the people of the hospital where they came up with this name Onvita.
Uh-huh.
And that's the smartest one I've heard.
I think it was an
They
honest one.
just made it up.
Yeah.
And of course, the logo looks like a half of a chainsaw.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, to me, it's scary, but that's
You know how much money it costs to change those signs? I have no idea, but I've put up signs at businesses before, and they're outrageously expensive.
No, but they did mention to us, we were the last to know, and they did mention to us, how much the whole marketing process costs them, to go through the whole thing, and it was just
It had to be millions.
it
Just
was, it
yeah.
was millions, and I'm like, "Gee, I'd have done it for you for free," you know?
Yeah.
Probably just as well.
You know,
Would you
if
have come up with a different name?
you know, if they I believe in calling things what they are.
Uh-huh.
You know, that was one thing I learned way back in, I can't remember how long ago it was, but, some class I took, I think, in college. But they said, you know, if you're selling something, if you're wanting to advertise something, you tell people what it is. And so I I thought if they came to us and they said, "We want to change the name from Yuma Regional Medical Center," which I admit that the term YRMC can be confused with Yavapai Regional Medical Center. There's no question about that.
Okay.
It always has. But if they had come to us and said, "We want to change it to Yuma Community Hospital," I would have had no problem with that.
Right.
You know, because it's Yuma. It's a Yuma healthcare system, and that's where it needs to be, but you see, what you need to do is you need to get that word health all by itself with another word
Mhm.
unrelated to it in order to expand into a corporation that is sellable, that you can sell to somebody from the outside,
Yep.
have them come in. So you have to have the word health, like Dignity Health, Banner Health,
Mhm.
any of those. So you gotta get the word health in there. Then you have to come up with some other word.
That's not regional. Yeah, that's not
Yeah, and they say, "Oh, well, underneath it says Yuma
underneath.
Regional
Yeah. Yeah.
Hospital or Yuma
A
Regional something."
a branch of Onvita. Yeah.
Yeah, right, it's a branch of Onvita, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this just happens to be the big hospital right here, people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then they're building that one in,
Is it San Luis?
San Luis, yes. And it's, closer to the border than, Amanda Geary's hospital is
Since she
gonna
just
be.
built hers. You know, it's
No, no, it'll be
it's been a
ready
year.
in a couple of years.
Hers isn't ready yet?
No.
Oh, I
The
thought.
hospital? No,
Yeah,
no.
I remember seeing the plans a year or two ago. I thought she'd already got that built. So it's gonna be built, and you are on Vita's gonna build at the same time?
That I don't know what their plan is. I actually learn more from Amanda Geary than I do from anyone at the hospital.
Nice lady, by the way.
From the hospital people. From
Okay.
the hospital formerly known as
I'm sad.
YRMC.
Yeah, I'm sad to hear that. I mean, when I was on the board and district were together, we shared information. They visited, and I never even considered there was not a disconnect of any kind at that point back then. But I guess it's evolved.
It's it's very interesting to deal with. I even have problems sometimes getting them to answer my letters.
Wow.
It's very difficult.
You used to be able to just knock on a door and go see them.
Weren't those the days?
Yeah. Well, when I first started, you introduced me to Dale Webb. One of the first things,
if we start talking about Dale Webb, I'm going to start to cry.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that. We were partners for, oh God, over 25 years. And Dale was just such a mainstay of that district board. And I always think to myself, when we get to this point, it's like, what would Dale do? What would Dale do? What would Dale do?
Quite a guy. Yeah. But it's changed. The hospital's a lot bigger. It's got a lot more stuff, a lot more buildings. They've expanded. They've done a lot of things. But they've disconnected from the district board, obviously.
Well, the other thing too is they keep saying they have all of this and they're providing all of this. I don't see an improvement in the care. I remember when we had a brain surgeon. I remember when we had a psych ward. I remember when we had all of these things. And they'll come to us and say, well, we're planning on doing this, and what we want to give you is this, and we want to give them this and this and this, and we want to be able to provide all of this. And I will tell them, don't you realize we had that at one time? What did you do to take it all away?
I know
it's gone now.
Yeah.
I mean, they send these cases that they consider to be complicated. They send them out. They send them to Phoenix. And that was, in my day, that was our bread and butter. That's what we did. They were very complicated cases, but we did them. We didn't send them out of town.
Oh,
somebody needs a liver resection. Okay, we'll do the liver resection. Need a pancreatectomy. Okay, we did the pancreatectomy. But oh no, can't do that. You got to send them out of town.
A lot of helicopter miles.
Well, no, these are scheduled cases.
Oh, okay.
But they refer them out of town. They set them up with somebody. I think, why are you doing that? What's the purpose in all this? How are you providing this care? But you see, when you have someone on salary, and they only have to work, so many hours, they can kind of pick and choose what they do. When you have someone who's in private practice, they want to work.
Have you ever considered running for the operating board?
I ran 3 times. Well, no, I didn't run. The way it was set up, the medical staff could put their representative, a doctor representative, on the operating board.
Right, there always was.
Yeah, there was always a doctor representative. And they put me up 3 times, and 3 times they went out of their way to find somebody to replace me. They even went so far as to bring in a doctor from the outside who didn't even have privileges. They gave him privileges overnight so they could pick him instead of me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think you would have been interesting on the board.
But anyway, I just wanted to mention to the public about the Healthcare Expo
Mhm.
on November 29th. It's a Saturday. It starts at 9 a.m. in the morning,
Well, let me,
and it's at the Civic Center.
the Civic Center. I will continue to mention that up to the date for you, Doctor.
Oh, I would appreciate that.
get
That
that
would
out.
be great, Russ.
I applaud you for getting that done, and more information is always better.
Yes, it is.
It is. It's always better. Well, I appreciate you. Didn't even cause any problems today.
Days young.
We look forward to. Well, I appreciate you coming in. The door's always open, so anytime.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I really do.
All right.
It's always fun to be here.
Oh, good. You take care. We'll be right back. AM 560 KBLU.
At Hospice of Yuma, we believe that everyone deserves compassionate care, especially when it matters most. As the area's only nonprofit hospice, our mission is simple: to provide high-quality, compassionate care to all who need it, regardless of their ability to pay. Our team of skilled professionals and dedicated volunteers work tirelessly to ensure that your loved ones receive the care and support they deserve. We focus on comfort and dignity, helping families navigate this difficult time with grace and understanding. Choose Hospice of Yuma for quality care that puts you and your family first. For more information, please contact us at 928-343-2222.
What's up, Yuma, and hello, Russ Clark Show listeners. Johnny Porter here, and I just made the switch to Allo Fiber, and it's a game changer. Lightning fast speeds for streaming, working from home, and gaming. No buffering or slowed down speeds. It's time to ditch the glitch and switch to Allo Fiber.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation, one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo. Partly cloudy skies today with a high of 65. Partly cloudy and 50 tonight. Sunny and 69 Thursday. Cloudy with rain developing late Thursday night with a low of 54. Rain on Friday with a high of 62.
This Thanksgiving, why settle for leftovers when you could serve up a feast of upgrades? So make your home shine with DreamLux Remodeling. At DreamLux Remodeling, we bring affordable luxury right to your doorstep with beautiful, grout-free showers, energy-saving windows, and top-quality products from Kohler, Delta, and Anderson. Make your home holiday ready. Call 928-236-5694 or visit dreamlux.us today. DreamLux, affordable, local, luxurious.
Allo Fiber has teamed up with DirecTV and launched Allo Mobile. This product combination means internet you can count on, streaming TV you can watch anytime and anywhere, and nationwide coverage on your mobile plan, which you can depend on. It's real service, and it comes with real savings because now you can switch, stack, and save and get all three of those services at one affordable price. The savings you won't want to miss. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's 5.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. Dean's in studio.
Glad to be here.
I don't know. Connie's still showing pictures, but thank you, man. Federal judge blocks Texas from using the redrawing of congressional maps. You see that, Dean?
Yeah, I saw that. I think it's not going to last very long.
Hard for me to tell. You know, the Dems always go crazy and they talk about how many times Trump has lost these lawsuits, which is a lot. But I forget the percentage they get thrown out. It's been up to 67, 80%. I don't know.
Right. Now, on the other side, I think there's a Republican lawsuit against California's Proposition 50.
Yeah, probably. But as you know, Texas did it, and Texas did it. You know, they have it's a state laws that you're following, not federal laws.
Right.
State laws, and they had every right to do it.
Yes.
The reason that the U.S. district judge threw it out, it was a group of three. Actually, it was three of them, 2-1 vote, was it was racist.
What?
Yeah. He said to be sure, political, and this is the judge, Guadarrama. Let's see, David Guadarrama. He said, to be sure, politics played a role in drawing the 2025 map. But it was much more than just politics. Substantial evidence shows that Texas racially gerrymandered the 2025 map. That's how the feds got involved, because it didn't break any state law. State had the opportunity to do that. Not every state does. It's different in every state.
You know, all of that is going away. The Supreme Court is talking about it and saying you can't use race as a determinant.
But they haven't made a decision on it completely yet.
Right. It's trending in that direction.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I somehow doubt that Texas says, good, we get to be racial now, and we're going to racially divide.
No, it's exactly the opposite what these judges are saying. And I haven't read the decision, but I understand the logic. They're saying you didn't carve out special racist districts for us.
Correct. So it's racist by ignoring
not
race.
being racist.
By ignoring race, you're racist. By not being racist, you're racist.
We have to be racist to get rid of racism. And I recall there's more than one Supreme Court justice that I think that has said the way to get rid of racism is not to practice racism.
Right. It's probably Thomas.
I believe it may be Alito and maybe more than one.
Yeah.
But whereas this woke ideology says the way we make up for racism is we be racist in a different direction.
That's exactly right. You're racist because you didn't follow the racist rule.
Yeah. It's just bizarre.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll hold up, but it gave opportunity for the Democrats to applaud and jump up and down, and Newsom even got in on the praise.
And this is, I'll try to be a little sort of fair here in that on the left, they don't think of racism as treating races differently. They say
racism when you don't.
If the outcome is not the way we want it to be, it's racist.
That too. But I think the left approves of the racist policies of treating races differently.
Oh, exactly.
As long as you push down the whites.
Yeah, exactly. And they even change all kinds of definitions. Their definition of racism is not that you treat different races different. It's not everybody comes out equal.
Right. Oh, that's right.
Equity,
Yeah,
which is a crazy way to look at things, but there are a lot of people who look at that way, and it's not hard to understand.
No, these judges
it's just not a very good representation of reality.
We got other states, other Texas, Missouri, North Carolina, Ohio, that are redrawn congressional maps. And this has got to go to the Supreme Court.
I think
but who knows if they accept it or not. Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General, he vowed immediately on Tuesday that the appeal of the ruling to the Supreme Court for review. He said Texas would also be seeking an emergency stay from the court, who would temporarily stay the lower court's ruling. Who knows if they'll hear it?
Yeah,
we don't know.
This is in the Fifth Circuit. It would have to be the Fifth Circuit.
Yeah,
it's in Texas. So this is a 3-judge panel. It's a split decision. A hot political topic. The Supreme Court might grant a stay, or they might.
Who knows?
They are a third branch of the government.
Paxton says for years, Democrats have engaged in partisan redistricting intended to eliminate Republican representation.
Well,
and there's tons of those examples. The most obvious are California and Illinois because they've been in the news a lot.
Yeah, I think New York. I mean, if you look at it, they're very highly gerrymandered.
Yeah.
And so now, when under President Trump, or at the suggestion, or some states are saying, well, okay, you want to play this game where you have probably 15 to 20 more Democrats than you would be expected in ordinary situation if it weren't all the gerrymandering, well, we can gerrymander too.
Paxton said, but when Republicans respond in kind, Democrats rely on false accusations of racism to secure partisan advantage.
There you go. I think he's correct.
Yeah. Greg Abbott, the governor, said, Texas legislators redrew our congressional maps to better reflect Texas' conservative voting preferences and for no other reason. Any claim that these maps are discriminatory is absurd and unsupported by the testimony offered during the 10 days of hearing. They had 10 days of hearing before the district panel.
Sure.
And I guess there was no racism in there, according to Greg Agnew. And all
Well,
of
like
a
I said,
sudden,
the left has a different definition of racist.
and they may have had that one figured out before the hearing started. I don't know.
Well,
What else are you going to say? You can't say it's against the law in Texas. Well, it's a federal thing anyway. But, I mean, it didn't break any Texas laws.
Right.
It didn't go against any federal, rulings on electioneering or
they
anything.
would have to be going back to interpretations of the Civil Rights Act.
That's exactly where they went. Racism.
And that
it's a catch-all.
It's being discredited, and I don't think that doctrine is going to hold up.
But who knows?
So I would not be surprised if the Supreme Court granted some kind of a stay or decided to take the case. We just don't know yet because they have the Supreme Court gets to do that. They get to decide what cases they hear.
Here's what the DNC chair, Ken Martin, said. He said Texas Democrats and the DNC fought valiantly for fair representation. And now, with this decision, the court has ruled that Texas Republicans cannot implement this blatant gerrymandering in the next election. Well, I think every state does gerrymandering at some point, but
do.
it's all blatant.
And the Supreme Court says gerrymandering is acceptable.
That they did, except if it's racist.
Well, yeah,
let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ, I'm not sure I don't have the radio on, but I just saw something here that's extremely upsetting. Young voters, 51% back socialism. In 2028, want to see a socialist president.
Yeah.
CNN on. Do you believe these people? Why don't they turn around and look at Venezuela, what Hugo Chavez did to that country?
I think that's the point, Ronnie. We haven't educated enough. I mean, these kids are not understanding the pitfalls of socialism. They don't know.
It's a poll. We have to look at the poll, see how they ask the questions.
That too.
It's probably a push poll to get this result.
I'm not disbelieving, though, that there's a lot of younger people.
There's a substantial number of people, yeah. And there's an old saw. If you're not a socialist when you're 20, you don't have a heart. And if you're not a conservative by the time you're 40, you don't have a brain.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of truth in that.
Right, true. But it depends on how you were educated.
Yes.
We grew up in an era that used to hear these two phrases: Radio Free Europe, you saw advertising, and then also the term the Iron Curtain, which was, of course, communism.
Right, and there was a fear of communism.
We were brought up to see what these type of things did to countries. And Venezuela, with Hugo Chavez back there in the 80s and 90s, he just totally destroyed that. I knew a fellow that worked for us back in 1977. He was a machinist, right? And he was when I was back east, of course. And when he was going to go on vacation that summer with his wife. And I said, "Where are you going?" He goes, "Caracas." He says, "It's beautiful down there." That's when Venezuela was a nice country. When he came back, he had nothing but praise. He said the prices were low, the food was great, the accommodations were even better, the beaches were as beautiful, and the people were nice. Chavez got in there years later and totally destroyed that country, where they were saying with the inflation in socialism there, according to our money, a cheeseburger would have cost you $175. People are eating out of trash cans and everything else, and I still think that goes on. And but he had praise. That shows you how nice that is. He said that was the idea. Ever want to go on vacation, go down there, and just But then, like I said, Chavez got in there and just totally destroyed the place.
But you got kids out there protesting for Palestine, but if they went to Palestine and visited for a month, they would run out like their hair's on fire.
I don't have much regard for people like that.
Yeah.
These younger people, like you says, what are they doing? They think that, under socialism, we won't be able to work. We won't be able to do anything. We don't have to work. We'll get free education. Nothing is free. You probably got to work harder under that system than you would normally. But I actually even saw and heard over, years dealing with people, a lot of the young people didn't even want to go out and get driver's licenses, and, have a goal to buy a car or any kind of goals like that, And I know when I was growing up, it was always a dream to be able to, get yourself a job and go out and buy yourself a nice car and, go out and have some fun instead of sitting around watching a telephone all day long.
Absolutely. Well, Ronnie, I appreciate the call, buddy.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye. Yeah, Trump comments on, he didn't comment a lot about the Supreme Court, at least I didn't see it, but he comments that we need to win the midterms at all costs. We need to win the midterms. And historically, the incumbent president takes a beating on this midterm. I can't remember. Obama lost like 40 or 50. Clinton lost 40.
It's, the only time you see it is when there's a serious transformation going on, like with an FDR. Right. I think he won the midterms, right? Gained in the House and the Senate. And that's what needs to happen in 2026 if we are not going to go back to gridlock, if we're not going to go bankrupt as a nation, if we don't essentially become someplace that tries to destroy the culture of Western civilization. And that's what unfortunately, that's what way too many of the people who consider themselves in the governing elite had been doing for decades. And Trump is the people's answer to say, no, we don't want to do that anymore.
Right. Well, we'll see. We'll see if that works for us. But this ruling is a major disappointment. And if it's going to be corrected, it needs to be corrected fast.
Correct.
Because we got elections coming up.
Right. Exactly. And so
it really is an emergency. If it's going to be looked at, it needs to be looked at.
And the Supreme Court has been pretty responsive to the Trump administration when they say this is an emergency. We need to have it looked at right away. And Trump is winning something like, I think you got to give Bondi.
It's like 60-some percent.
Oh, I thought it was much higher than that. Of these emergency things, something like over 95%,
like
23 out of 25.
Yeah. Well, because you find a lot of activist judges that are not really
and that's why this is a little different to have a 3-judge panel on a district. I mean, a circuit court do it. Most of the action has been at the district.
But the
level.
rationale that it's racism is what's really disturbing, and that's probably against what the Supreme Court is hinting at where they're going. Where we just don't recognize racism. We just treat people.
Well, it's to do away with this. This was not explicit in the Civil Rights Act. It's been judicial interpretation over the years that you would make minority majority districts.
It wasn't written specifically like that.
I don't believe so. It came out of the doctrine that with the one man, one vote doctrine that was developed later as part of court rulings.
Okay.
That's my understanding. Now, of course, I can be wrong.
But what happens on that when you say, okay, majority minority district is an automatic Democrat district?
That's the way it's worked out. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all you got to do is look at the registered Democrats, not race. Anyway, it's illegal for employers on your application to put race. At least in the.
I think at the federal level, I remember that I was supposed to put it on, on federal applications for jobs.
Yeah. Well, one time, I know I got asked before on.
Because they said we have to figure out whether we have the right balance of, this race, that race, the other.
And that was a question I had when I was given a survey by the federal government as a percentages of Hispanics and Blacks and Asians and whites in my work environment. I called them and I said, I am not allowed to keep that information in an employee file. Well, then guess. And that was their answer.
Well,
guess.
It's interesting because when I asked about this, they said, well, that's strictly voluntary. Nobody has to check that box about which supposed race your heritage is or whatever. But I have a friend who was in the Marine Corps, and she's pretty dark complexion, but she's culturally raised very much as sort of a northern, Montanan type. And she wanted to check off white on the box, and they wouldn't allow her to do it.
They wouldn't allow her.
They would not allow. You can't do that. This was in the Marine Corps. It was quite a few years ago now. No, you fit. You increase our percentages where we want them to be.
Oh, they were looking to
You're
fill
a
some.
female, and you're very dark complexion. You got to put female black on there. And finally, she just checked refused to check anything, and they said, "Well, we can't do anything about that."
Man, they're just trying to fill some social problem.
Essentially a quota that's not allowed to be called a quota.
Well, no, we're not allowed to. We just do it.
Well, because there's pressure. When I worked at YPG, there was a lot of pressure to get enough people to, so that the people at higher levels would say, "Yeah, YPG has got a diverse workforce."
See, I was an operations manager in Genuine Parts Company, which is Napa, and there's 50 some distribution centers where there's operations managers. There's only one in every DC, and that runs all this distribution. We couldn't get any females. I mean, there was this big push. They wouldn't go to colleges and recruit and all that.
Yeah, right.
And they just weren't interested. We couldn't, it was hard to find. They finally found some lady that could fit the role. I mean, and GPC did not lessen the responsibility, did not lessen the duties, but they found one. And I think we ended up with one after about 5 years. We got one.
Well, and there's some of these categories are very small numbers.
Yeah.
And some of those categories are just not particularly interested. You don't find a lot of women, for example, that are interested in STEM, in engineering and math. There are some out there. I know some brilliant engineers, female engineers, but the numbers are small.
We're in a country of choices. We have choices here. We can be and do whatever we want. And if the women say they don't want to do it, but now there's this pressure, well, you have to because we need the numbers.
Yes, exactly so.
So do what you don't want to do in this free country so you can do whatever you want. But if you went to to these fairs, the amount of ladies signing up for cosmetics jobs and stuff were huge.
Well, and this is,
and they should be, because that's the primary customer.
Again, in my opinion, this is leftist ideology running up against reality.
Yeah.
In the ideology, there's no difference between men and women. They're just the same. So you should have just as many women engineers as men engineers.
It was tough duty.
But it's just not that way in reality.
Automotive
women
parts
have somewhat different brains than men.
Right. And automotive parts just didn't turn the women on.
Yeah.
They looked at that and said, that's not really what I want to do.
Sure. But
you have to. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
But we finally, got one.
It's trying to fit a round peg into a square hole.
Genuine Parts Company is an old Georgia company. It started in Georgia, and we had a headquarters in Atlanta, and I'd go to Atlanta headquarters at least once a year for different reasons and different things. We'd have meetings in a boardroom that was down there, big room, and on that room was a picture of every single general manager in the company. So there'd be 55 pictures of those general managers all around. One day, they had a blood drive, and they used that boardroom to do the blood drive. They brought in all these nurses and stuff and did a blood drive. And one of the nurses was looking around the walls, and she says, what is that, all the pictures on the wall? Who are these people? And of course, Genuine Parts Company staff is very proud of it. And they said, well, these are our general managers located out through all the different states within the United States. And she looked around again. She says, y'all have a lot of white boys. And of course, she was a black nurse. And that's when it dawned on me, we only had white general managers in the entire company. That was it. They took all the pictures down. That was the last day they had the pictures up.
Which, given the legal framework at the time, probably was wise.
That was in the 80s when it happened. So, but it made them nervous all of a sudden.
Right. Because of the way that, we have to cure discrimination with discrimination. And I recall some legal scholars saying at the time, well, okay, when does this end? At what point does it end?
Yeah.
Because and the Supreme Court now is basically, it's very close to saying affirmative action is discrimination. We're not going to allow it anymore.
Right. What is the percentage of blacks in the United States? Is it like 12 or something?
I think it's a little higher, about 15%,
Is it?
15, 16.
So there should have been about 7 if it was reflective of the United States.
If all populations, when you break them down by the color bar or whatever you use, because it's really hard. It's hard they say there's 57 genders or however many. I guess I'm just making that number
How
up.
do you get one of each?
But if you want to break down races and cultures, there's probably hundreds in the U.S. I mean, the number of people who are extremely successful managers among Nigerian blacks, who tend to be very, very dark black, in the U.S. is pretty high. They seem to do extremely well. They have higher incomes than white people in general. But blacks that were born in America haven't done as well. So, are they different races, or do they just have different
cultures,
different educations? So many things.
Unfortunately, and I went to a historically black college, and a lot of my instructors, I think 90% of the instructors were black in that college. Most of them are from overseas. Most of them come in from other countries, and they spoke about it a lot, about drive, and all that, and they were frustrated that so many blacks in America wouldn't do the work.
Right,
just wouldn't do the work, and it came up all the time. And these are guys that fought hard in these countries to even get an opportunity to join a school, let alone working 12 hours to get through it and get to be a doctor, come to America to help their studies and to help teach. And then they found a population that wasn't willing to work.
Well, yes, and some of this is fostered. There is some truth in the fact that this part of this comes from slavery, because if you're a slave, there's not a lot of incentives to do a lot of work to get ahead. There's a lot of incentives to try to get away with doing as little as you can.
Yeah.
And so if that culture then is kept and translated into the future, by family tradition or whatever, then it probably is one of the reasons that you don't have as many energetically
a lot
ambitious.
of it, and I just want to say anecdotally from friends, a lot of friends that are of color, that families, cousins, relatives, they don't always encourage
Right,
doing
exactly. Now to get it away from race, when I was down in Panama, I had a fair number of friends, and I talked to people from Panama, and there was a sort of a consensus that one of the reasons that Panamanians weren't more ambitious to get property and build businesses and such was because, if you did that and the government changed, they might just take it all from you. So what's the point?
I had an employee here like that, Hispanic guy, and he was one of my most inventive guys, great painter. So he would work overtime for me to do some jobs. He would do some jobs on the weekends on his own. I would help him, set some things up because he was just a talented guy and he could get a lot done. And he was making a lot of money putting it aside to buy a house. He was in his early 20s and he was buying a house. And he came to me one day and says, I'm done with it. I'm not going to do that anymore. Which, of course, raised a lot of questions.
Right.
Like, what's going on with you, buddy? And the answer was, well, my brother got arrested, went to jail and all that. My mom made me give him all the money so he could probably afford the lawyers to get him out.
Yeah, I'd seen that.
I said, what? He says, yeah, Russ, if I have money, my parents will take it if there's a need in the family because family comes first.
Right. Yeah, I've seen that too.
So he gave up all his work.
Yes.
He stopped it.
Yeah, why? Because
there was no way to get ahead.
Right. Yeah, that's another dynamic that's there. And that's one of the things that, has made the United States so powerful in the world is generally the culture here is that if you work hard and make stuff, it's to benefit you. You don't have to give it to somebody else.
Right.
But that's there. I mean, you see that dynamic in other parts of the world.
Still,
it's understandable.
Still surprised me to have it here. And I suggested to him, well, why don't you do the work and let me hold the money? I don't know. But he ended up leaving and doing some other job because there wasn't no reason to work that hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, incentives matter.
Yeah.
And in a lot of places, the incentives are against building up capital and spending all your hours creating something that someone else will just take from you.
But his family structure was the mom is the rule.
Right.
And she said, give your money to your brother. He needs it.
Yeah.
We can't let him sit in jail. I don't care how many people he robbed.
Right.
He's a good boy.
And unfortunately, that is out there.
Yeah.
And again, the culture here in the U.S. has generally been against it. There's exceptions, of course. After the Civil War, there were some criminals were made into heroes because they were war heroes or whatever, and then they continued to go after the Yankee by theft and bank robberies and stuff like that. But in general, people think you shouldn't rob people. The Ten Commandments, the Christian heritage in the U.S. Says don't rob, don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat, don't give false witness in front of a court.
Mm-hmm.
And that dominated the country and continues to dominate it for the most part. And that type of culture has proven to be extremely productive.
I told you I rode my bicycle along the canal bank the other day, and my wallet fell out of my bag.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, wallet fell out of my bag on my way to the gym. So I worked out for an hour. Driving back home, some guy on a bicycle, which I'd seen a few times and waved to him, he stopped me, and he handed my wallet back.
Wow.
I usually don't carry a lot of cash, but I happen to have $500 in there. All intact, everything intact. I tried to give him something. He says, no. I saw you, and I saw that you had your phone hooked to your bike, but not your wallet. And when I saw this case, it's a phone case. It had to be yours. And I knew you'd be coming back this way, so I waited for you.
Wow.
And he gave it back to me.
Very impressive.
I had my hard passport, my driver's license, 4 credit cards, $500, my everything. He gave me the whole thing and wouldn't even let me buy him dinner. It still exists.
It does.
And this wasn't in the best part of our town, but best part of our people.
That's impressive. And that's the kind of people that build a civilization.
I thought it was great. I've got to take a break. We'll be right back. 8 o'clock, AM 560.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
Fox News. So this morning, when the resolution the House also passed arrives, compelling the Justice Department to release all the files from Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking investigation, senators will send it to President Trump, who used to oppose this push as a Democrat hoax and urged Republicans to support it.
If there's a list of people who were participating in sex trafficking, we want to know who they are and we want to hold them accountable. We want to find justice for the victims.
That's House Oversight Committee Chairman Tim Comer, who tells Fox Business he has subpoenaed 2 banks and the U.S. Virgin Islands Attorney General for Epstein's financial records. The Saudi Crown Prince is still in the U.S.
The president attends a business summit with Saudi leaders today at the Kennedy Center here in Washington. That followed yesterday. Massive investment commitment from the kingdom for the U.S. According to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, it will approach $1 trillion.
This is Doug Luzader.
The U.S. will sell F-35 fighter jets to the Saudis. That further solidifies military ties, and the president has declared the country a major non-NATO ally.
Ukraine is another non-NATO ally. Navy Secretary Dan Driscoll in Kyiv today for talks as rescue crews keep searching the rubble of apartment buildings blown up in a Russian drone and missile attack that killed at least 25 people. 12 days after a death at sea, a potential murder case in court. Anna Kepner, 18 years old, on November 7th, her body was found on a Carnival cruise ship in the Caribbean. She was on a cruise with her blended family. She was found wrapped in a blanket, stuffed underneath a bed, found by housekeeping. It was covered up also with life jackets. At this point, there's no cause of death, no charges of murder or anything else. We could see, though, criminal charges against a half-sibling who was also on that cruise. That half-sibling is a minor. We learned about this because the stepmom who was on the cruise is trying to delay a custody fight over a previous divorce. That's Fox's Steve Harrigan. Americans listening to Fox News. Meet Bob. He's 63 years old. He spent 40 years as a body man and car painter. Bob heard me talking about Relief Factor and decided, give it a shot. Bob wrote in, he said, Glenn, I could barely walk. I couldn't make it up the stairs. Day 4 or 5, I began to feel the change. But after just 8 days of Relief Factor, I'm 75% better. I'm comfortable, and I'm thoroughly impressed. These are the kinds of transformations that are common with Relief Factor. In fact, 2 out of 3 people who try go on to order more month after month. I'm one of those people. I wasn't banging on cars all day like Bob. My pain was in my hands and
debilitating nonetheless. I couldn't paint, I couldn't write, quickly losing hope. And I feared the rest of my life, I just have to live with the pain. So if you're living with daily aches and pain, Relief Factor might be the real deal for you. Try the 3-week quick start today. It's only $19.95. See how it works for you. Visit relieffactor.com or call 800-4-RELIEF. 800-4-RELIEF.
Good morning from the News 11 Information Desk. I'm Danielle North. The Yuma County Health Department presented new statistics on local overdoses at this week's Yuma County Anti-Drug Coalition meeting. The county said 37 drug overdose cases were eligible for review in 2024, which is 3 less than the previous year. Meanwhile, the highest total they've seen in the past 4 years was in 2021, with 66 cases eligible for review. And researchers at the University of Arizona are creating new ways to defend one of Yuma's most important winter vegetables. The researchers are using the plant Melissa to help fight thrips and organic lettuce. Thrips are insects that spread a dangerous disease into the winter vegetables. Since organic farming is strict on chemical sprays, researchers needed a non-toxic way to combat the insects. The plan is for the thrips to be attracted to a true of the elicit. Join us on TV side News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 for all news, weather, and sports. I'm Danielle Burke Norris.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you. It is 8:04 on a Wednesday hump day morning. Phone lines are open, 928-344-5258. Dean's here with me.
I'm glad to be here. Great day.
Yuma County just had their 9th annual Breakfast with Champions that supports Special Olympics, and they raise money for Special Olympic athletes. I told you, I think I've emceed that thing for 2 or 3 years. Wonderful event. I wasn't involved in it this year for whatever reason, and they probably found somebody that actually could read. I have no idea. But I just want to say that it's a great program, great organization. I always enjoyed it. And some of the professionalism there was awesome. I think I told you off air that, I am seeing a lot of things. And on this one, they really wrote out a great script that included all stage direction, included entries and exits and all that, which I never see really. Miss Yuma County pageants, I've seen it and that kind of stuff, and I helped write some of those. This one was the best I've ever seen written, which took away a lot of my concerns.
Yeah, well,
but
they
do
made your job easier too.
They do a great job, and good luck to them and all that. I hope to stay in touch with them, but they just got down. But those Special Olympics athletes, man, they're friendly, and they love to talk and they love to communicate, and they like the work. I mean, they inspire. Actually, if you're around them, you walk away with a smile.
Glad to hear.
You just do. Christy Nome. I don't know if everybody walks away with a smile from Christy, but I like her.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, very much.
She's
Homeland
easy.
Security Secretary, obviously.
Yeah, she's easy on the eyes too.
She is, but she doesn't let that hold her back because
No.
she's tough.
She is. Yeah, I get that impression.
She's tough. She just announced a strategic partnership with Canada and Finland. I don't know if you've heard about it. They're going to build some icebreakers.
Oh yes, yeah.
Some icebreakers. I guess I never really thought of China being one of the rival powers, and I think Trump
in the Arctic,
and Trump quite often calls China competition. Competition for markets, competition for stuff like that. And I think China is competition, but they're the kind of competition that wants to own it all.
Right.
They don't want to, have competitors. They eventually want to reduce the competitors.
Right. It's not a regulated competition like you have in the United States, where there's a framework.
And of course, the tariffs help a lot because they tariff us,
right?
And we didn't tariff back. And now it is. They used to be just a supplier and tariff everybody out.
Not only that, but tremendous theft of intellectual property too.
But I didn't realize how much they were in the Arctic. I knew, Russia, of course, the boogeyman that is in there. But we need ice makers. are icebreakers. And I think we have a dozen of them right now. But Canada and Finland are going to build nearly a dozen cutting-edge icebreaker ships to help defend against China. And apparently they've got the expertise that we lack.
That's correct.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
and I
I was-
didn't know that our shipbuilding was behind times because so much has been going overseas. We have not promoted that industry.
That's correct. And Finland is like the world leader in the best icebreakers, and Canada is probably right up there close to them. And we have contracted essentially with Canada and Finland to make.
Once we make Canada the
icebreakers.
51st state, aren't we then? It's a domestic thing then.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't think that's.
I would probably be 56 or 7 states, wouldn't it? If you,
I think there were like according to.
I like the idea of just making them a territory.
Yeah, I like the idea that there's just the gamemanship.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to become a state anytime soon. I think we're fine.
Really don't know. The world is in such flux.
Yeah.
I could see, Alberta maybe.
Can they really break away from the homeland? I mean,
They have a mechanism set up to do that by vote.
The southern states
It
tried
seems
that
unlikely.
in the 1800s. It
Right,
didn't
but there's an actual legal mechanism in Canada set up to do it
work.
by referendum.
Well, let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, gangsters.
Good morning, OG.
Good morning.
Yeah, listen, couple of things here. Pelosi's stock.
She does a good
Did y'all
job.
see that?
Yeah. Yeah, she's better than Wall Street. She's better than other investors. So she's got a real knack for insider trading.
17,000% increase in her money, in her principal.
Yeah. Over how long, OG, do you know?
In
From 1997.
Okay, so it's been 30 years almost.
Yeah, but
Well,
she beats
well, no,
everybody.
Oh yeah,
no,
absolutely.
Yeah, stop that. Because you're trying to rationalize for gains. That's not right. There's no one in the world has 17,000% increase. Not even Bill Gates.
No.
Not over that.
Not even Elon Musk.
No.
So let's stop the rationale crap. But Pelosi's stock surged in Congress. Before Congress, in 1997, she had $785,000. That was the total purse that she had. Now, this woman needs to be prosecuted. The whole damn family that shared in these profits needs to be prosecuted. 37 years in Congress, 2025. She has a wealth. The family total wealth is $423 million. But she had a gain of $133 million in stock market gains.
Yeah.
And a whopping return of 17,000%. And that is just unreal. The woman needs to be prosecuted. I'm telling you, Pam Bondi, you better be getting on this. Now, Trump has been listening to me on insurance now. Remember, I've been tracking insurance, rightly so, being a non-tangible pyramid scheming outfit, remember?
Yeah. He's ready to join you.
Yes, it sure is, because I've been bombarding his butt with emails. Apparently, he's going to get rid of me, and I'm going to be quiet.
Okay.
But did you see what he said about him? He called them blood-sucking, money-sucking people.
Yeah, he doesn't really hold back, does he?
No. I'm proud of that. Maybe we'll get the government, get the insurance companies out of government, because every word in government, folks, is bonded.
Yeah.
Every employee. Several million has to be bonded. Do you know how much money that is in premiums that the taxpayers are paying?
Trillions.
Yes, sir. Yeah. But yeah. So, and health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
It should be called sick care insurance. And this is yeah, because they don't cure nothing.
No.
They really don't. Do you know John, what's his name? Supreme Court Justice. Remember when he changed the wording in it to make it legal?
John Roberts. Yeah.
Yeah, John Roberts. Remember
He changed the
wording?
law.
Yeah, he rewrote the law. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And that through, and nobody challenged it.
I know. It's so weird.
And then there's John McCain's little thumbs down thing, and that's why we still got the crap. Because had he voted yes, I guess it would have been canceled already. We wouldn't be giving with it. But since that moment, did you know the health insurance has had a 230% increase in premiums.
In how many years? I mean, it's been a short time. Yeah, short time.
Yeah, well, it was just before Trump's ended, so he got 5 years.
Yeah.
That's outrageous. Do you have 230% increase in your wealth?
No.
Of course not.
And we were promised a decrease in rates, and we got the opposite. A promise in more choices, we got the opposite. A promise in keeping our doctors, it was a lie.
Well, you keep our dogs in the hut, Russ.
Yeah, we'll do it, buddy. I appreciate the call.
Okay.
Thank you,
Take
sir.
care.
Bye. Yeah, I agree with him.
Well,
but Nancy Pelosi was more than insider trading. She was the Speaker of the House.
Right.
And she decided what bills would be heard, what wouldn't be heard, and where the votes were.
Exactly.
She would buy the company and then vote them in.
Well,
and vote them to get whatever they wanted.
And what OG is saying is that she should be prosecuted.
Well, there's no
but
law
it
for it.
wasn't illegal
No.
at the time.
It
They're
was not.
talking about making it illegal now.
Yeah. Now, anybody that handles securities would have been
yeah.
prosecuted. I mean, it's against the law. You can't
Absolutely.
have insider information and go trade. You
Right.
can't share insider information. You can't do any of that.
It's yes.
Edward is a good friend of mine, and of course, he's tied to into that market, all those markets. He would never tell me anything. Not that I would do it anyway, but he knows. I mean, he would lose everything. I mean, you could lose your license. You could
could.
lose everything.
Correct.
Potentially.
People have assumed that there was a fair amount of insider trading that doesn't get detected.
Now, if I have Pelosi's money in a few years, that means Edward's talking.
It just means you're a very smart trader.
Oh, smart trader, no.
Yeah, but yes, the problem is that there's no law against it. Congress exempted themselves from that.
Correct. They did. Yeah. And you can't do that in the private practice at all.
You're not. It's not legal. Correct.
No. And many have gotten in trouble.
People have gotten in trouble. Quite a few people. have.
Absolutely. Getting back to Kristi Noem and this deal with the icebreakers and all that. Kristi says, to thrive in the Arctic, we need icebreakers, adding that the ice pack will help power the economies of the three countries and strengthen the collective Arctic defense Noem called the Arctic, the world's last, most wild frontier, where the U.S. and its allies, as well as their adversaries, are competing for strategic positions and the rich natural resources within the region. Now, recently, Chinese ships began to openly operate near the U.S. Arctic waters.
Right.
To test, Noem says their goal was clear. They wanted to test America's resolve. The Coast Guard immediately responded. In fact, we deployed the Cutter Healy. That's the newest one that they have, the Cutter Healy, and a fleet of air assets to the scene and escorted those intruders out of the water. Our rapid response sent a clear message. Under President Trump's leadership, we will defend our sovereignty. We only have 11 cutters right now in the inventory. They're going to build 12 more. I don't know how long that takes.
You're talking icebreakers.
Icebreakers. Yeah.
I read a couple articles on this, and I think they were talking about finishing these things in less than 3 years.
But they may be set up to do that. I mean,
they've been building all along. The Canadians and the Finns, particularly, have been building icebreakers all along, so they're set up for it.
So I'm sure we're not going to. They've got the holes that they've built
they have
already.
The dry docks and everything, and they have these are plans
Probably
that have
the
already been
forums.
built. It's a sort of standardized design, the latest, greatest design, but they don't have to redesign something from scratch.
Well, apparently we're going to send U.S. rebuilders there to the shipyard so they can be trained.
It makes sense.
We don't even have the people trained to do it.
Well, yeah, I don't think we built an icebreaker for quite a while. I just that's what I recall from reading the article, but it was several days ago when I was reading about it.
I think it's interesting, but and so many things like this are happening under Trump, where re-education, retraining, bringing businesses back, getting investments back,
right?
And I just hope we can keep this going without the left coming in and says, no, we don't want to do any of that work. Send it back overseas.
Well, it's this weird attitude that I see on the left is it's better to harm the country than allow Trump to get credit for something.
I think so.
It's a weird thing.
The left looks at wealth as a finite thing. There's only so much money. There's only so many dollars. So we have to redistribute it. It's not true.
Correct.
The wealth continues to grow because products grow, assets grow, and we build wealth. But the key there is we have to build it.
Correct.
And if we're buying it from overseas, it's harder to build it.
Well, and it's an interesting thing because I think the phrase making money is particularly American because you're not taking money, you're making it.
Right.
You're making wealth. And that's an important thing. And if you look at what has happened in the last couple hundred years, say 250 or so, the world has got enormously wealthier because mostly Western civilization. And, we've pioneered all these technologies and advancements, and so many people today, more people than ever before, live a relatively comfortable lifestyle where they don't have to worry about starving this year.
Right.
And it's never been as positive as it is now. And it's all because of Western civilization. So what do the people who don't like the U.S. say? Well, you stole it all from us. How is it that more people are wealthier than ever before if we stole it all from you? Well, it doesn't count. We're not as wealthy as you are, even though they're 10 times as wealthy as they were 100 years ago.
Right. Yeah, it's weird how we all look at it, but I think the left look at it. If we could just redistribute the billionaires' money, we'd all have tons.
Well, there is that. It's this idea, as you said, of a zero-sum game where wealthy people took it from us. And if you go back 300-400 years, when wealth did not grow very fast, well, I'd say over 500, because that's when Western civilization really started taking off. Wealth did not grow fast. And if somebody was wealthy, it was generally because there were a lot of people subservient to them who paid taxes or whatever. If you're a feudal king, you live a high lifestyle because all of your subjects are contributing a little bit each to you. But with the Industrial Revolution, we found out ways to actually create wealth fast. We created wealth faster than we were making enough people.
There's guys I know that they're craftsmen and they know how to build like quality furniture and custom furniture and stuff like that. They can literally take, $300-400 worth of wood into their garage, come out after a couple days and sell a $5,000 desk.
Sure.
So that was creation of $4,700.
Yes, correct.
It's a creation of wealth. That isn't wealth that existed before. It's new wealth.
That's right. And you have other people who can take that same material and even the same machine and end up with a bunch of sawdust and splinters.
Yeah, at least.
They can destroy wealth.
Yes.
There are a lot of people who can destroy. It's a lot easier to destroy wealth than it is to make wealth.
Right.
And frankly, if you're good at fighting, back more than 500 years ago, you could get pretty wealthy just by going around and raiding people like a lot of the Islamic Muslims and Vikings did.
That's one way to go.
Yeah.
But you run out of people to raid.
Well, that's it. You can't, if your population gets too successful and too big, there's not enough population to raid anymore, and you have to go to farming or something.
Yeah. We have to do something else because this raiding's not working out anymore.
Because there's no more people left to steal from.
And then once you've accumulated a lot of raided wealth, you become a target to the other raiders.
Yeah, well, that's true too. And of course, what the successful raiders did is they said, let's not kill off the golden goose. Let's just, make them our subjects, and we'll just take taxes off.
Yeah, and as long as you're the only raider,
yeah,
that's fine. But the next guy may just.
That's right. And there's a constant wars, raiding one another.
It's been going on forever. It's going to keep going on. That's what the mafia goes around and gets protection money.
Yeah.
Pay me protection money. Your business won't get burned out.
Yeah. A lot of people say governments are just a protection racket, and to a certain extent, there's some truth in it.
Might be,
but you can't have a civilization unless you have a stable, mostly war-free environment in which to build it.
And that's what the government's designed to be, is to protect us from that.
That's what we said in the Declaration of Independence and in the Constitution.
It's not to give us free stuff.
No.
It's to protect us so we can make our own stuff.
Correct.
Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Russ?
Yes, Ted.
Can I make a goofy statement?
Well, you've been known to, but go ahead. Give it a try.
I want to protect the Arctic and all from the foreign governments, we just string a line of porta potties from the Arctic all the way down to California.
Okay. And how will that protect us?
Well, the Chinese are very clean people. They don't like you wearing shoes inside their houses or anything like that. So that'll stop them. The porta potties will stop them.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can't shake Islamic hand with your right hand. So, because we're dirty infidels, so we just string porta potties all along the west coast.
Chemical warfare. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
They want to play these goofy little childish games.
Yeah.
With the kind of weaponry that's around the world.
Buddy.
There's an answer to it. Non-materialistic.
No, the real weapons out there would blow your porta potties up. But
have you ever seen some of the porta potties at concerts?
No. What do you mean?
I don't think a foreign military would go past them. I think some of them are nuclear.
They might pass upwind.
Yeah, that's an awful thought for breakfast, but thank you, Ted.
You're welcome. I think that would be a beautiful solution to bury off the Arctic down to California.
Yeah, we're going to throw that suggestion away, man. Sorry. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I put that into the category of, for every difficult problem, there's a simple solution that's wrong.
That's wrong. That one's wrong. I want to give you some of Trump's solutions to the insurance companies that would he put on Truth Social in all caps. He does that, when I guess he wants to scream at you. I'm going to read it like normal. I'm not going to scream it.
Okay.
Okay. The only healthcare I will support or approve is sending the money directly back to the people, with nothing going to the big, fat, rich insurance companies who have made trillions and ripped off America long enough. The people will be allowed to negotiate and buy their own much better insurance. Power to the people.
I like it. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
It's better than Ted's toilet idea.
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
It's pretty close to, I think, what they have in Switzerland, like I mentioned earlier, where the government says you have to have some type of major medical, and then you buy the rest of the stuff yourself. And they might subsidize you with so much of household or person. I don't know.
Healthcare is the worst to deal with for me because I don't know what anything costs, and you can't find out.
Well, right. That's one of the big problems in our system.
I'm a business guy. No matter what I want to buy, I can get on the internet and I can look it up and find out price, quality, differences in makes and models and all that kind of stuff, and make intelligent, informed decisions. You could not make an intelligent, informed decision on healthcare.
It's very difficult.
If you need to have a procedure done, you can't get on the internet and say, what's the best price? What's the best service? What's the best anything? You can't get it. It doesn't exist.
At least not in the U.S.
Correct.
There's some medical, tourism going on.
And the medical tourism does a great job. And medical tourism is if you need elective surgery or something, you can go to actually resort type situation in another country, spend whatever time you need, to get there, have the operation, recuperate, get some medical checkup, get back home. The airfare, the resort fees, the doctor fees, and everything is going to be a fraction of what you would pay just for the procedure
in the U.S.
In the U.S.
Correct.
Yeah. And usually they're U.S. trained. A lot of them are. I mean, I've talked to some orthopedic surgeons that get those opportunities all the time. Like, okay, come spend 6 months with us in India or someplace, wherever they're doing these vacation things, and you'll make more money than you ever made, and people will save a fortune.
Yeah, and maybe a lot of it will be tax free. I don't know.
I have no idea. But if it is, we can't tell anybody.
No, there's some exceptions for overseas work. Part of a year. There used to be anyway in the tax code. There was some exceptions.
My son's been overseas for a few years now in the military, and there is no tax. His pay is his take-home pay.
I don't have a problem with that.
No.
And so what we want is to inject more capitalism into the healthcare system here, and give people more choices. And one of the big problems is people don't have any choices now.
But Obamacare is the opposite of that.
Exactly.
And that's what Trump sees. So he said, just give it to the people. I don't think we should give them anything, but we should give opportunities to shop, opportunities to do the best deals. And that's not what we have
I think Trump has proven to be an amazingly practical politician.
Yeah.
And he says that people will take a subsidy, they'll take money to buy their own health care before they will say, just don't give us any money and we'll just shop. So I think his plan has a possibility of passage.
And he wrote to Congress, said, Congress, do not waste your time and energy on anything else. This is the only way to have great health care in America. Get it done now.
Well, he's right. I think he's right.
I think so. Now, back on November 8th, he did another post. He says, I recommend to the Senate Republicans that the hundreds of billions of dollars currently being sent to money-sucking insurance companies in order to save the bad health care provided by Obamacare be sent directly to the people so they can purchase their own much better health care and have money left over. In other words, take the big bad insurance companies, give it to the people, and terminate per dollar spent. The worst health care anywhere in the world, Obamacare.
He has a lot of reality there. I mean, I would say that, if you look at North Korean healthcare, probably might be worse than Obamacare.
Well, when you look at the money, though, the money
exactly.
we spend.
We've combined the worst aspects of capitalism with the worst aspects of socialized medicine.
Yeah.
It's maybe not quite all that, but that's what the problem is.
We spend
with Obamacare.
so much more than most other countries on healthcare. I mean, Western countries at least double on than other Western countries.
But you have to say that a lot of the stuff that is done here is done better than most other places.
Correct.
Not all of it.
Correct. Yeah.
For exceptional cases, we're really good.
On November 8th, he also had no more money, hundreds of billions of dollars to the Democrat-supported insurance company for really bad Obamacare. The money must go directly to the people, taking the fat cat insurance companies out of the corrupt system of healthcare. The people can buy their own much better policy for much less money, saving for themselves an absolute fortune. Which he's right.
He's right. He's right.
The amount of money you pay for insurance right now, and insurance is a must. But the money you pay, families going to pay $1,500, $2,000 a month in insurance. And then on top of that, the deductible is going to be bigger than it's ever been.
And there are exceptions.
Oh, bigger than that.
Like federal workers.
Really?
As I recall, the federal worker system of healthcare was exempted from Obamacare. Now people can check them. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know
Congress is.
Yeah, and I think they included all federal workers in Congress.
Yeah, they don't have to do it. The Congress doesn't have to get lousy Obamacare.
Right. So I know that, I'm not paying a lot more under Obamacare than I was before. But then I was doing the HSA thing too, which is different.
You're not on Obamacare now, though.
Right.
Yeah, you're gone. Yeah, you're on Medicare. It's no choice.
Right. Actually, that was part of the deal. Once you got above, I think, 65, you had to transition to Medicare.
Right. Which we did.
And as Dr. Uribe said, Medicare is one of the big reasons we ended up where we are today.
Well, they start micromanaging everything.
Yeah.
Start dictating. And then she said it's rates are based off of Medicare plus 10%, Medicare, whatever.
Right.
But I can tell you on the hospital board, when we set, we had to approve the rates. We don't write them, the board doesn't. But the board gets people to come in, explain what's going on. And that's why I know about the discounts. There were huge discounts.
Right.
They set it up so that they could discount it to the, they put $2,000 for procedures doesn't cost near that, knowing that we would discount 70% for an insurance company.
Right. I mean, and that's always been the problem with any socialized system.
Yeah.
Is figuring out actual costs and prices, and that's where capitalism shines, because you have competition. Prices shake out. They vary up and down. But
it would kill an organization right now in our current system to put on the website that a colonoscopy cost $1,000 because they've already done all these contracts that they're going to give a big discount to all these other people. So you can't come out with a true.
Yeah, if you put on a price that is reasonably close or a little above your cost, and then it gets discounted by 70%, you lose a lot of money.
I went to the hospital once to talk about a bill. And when I sat down with the lady and I said, well, I got this bill for $5,000 or something. She says, well, if it's too high, we can knock off 30%. I mean, that was without even telling her what the problem was, which it wasn't that. It was something else. Without even.
Yeah, if somebody enters a negotiation with me, I say, well, I think it should be more like 60% you knock off, and maybe we settle at 50.
Yeah, it was amazing how quickly they were ready to knock off.
Right.
Because they've
have a
got
better
way overpriced.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
it's
have,
way
they have a
overpriced.
better understanding.
Yeah.
Now, of course, part of this other stuff is that they're required to give out free health care to a lot of people.
Of course. And that's a loss that we all pay for.
Right.
And legally they can't deny anybody.
Right, it's federal law.
Now yes, if somebody goes in the emergency room, they have to stabilize them. Now that doesn't mean they become a patient for the next 5 years while they reconstruct surgery and all that. That's not it. What they have to is get them to where they don't die and they're stable.
And so that they could be leave the hospital without dying, I imagine.
Yeah. And so everybody comes in is going to get taken care of. That's just legal, regardless.
Required by law.
It is. Now, they're going to try to get as much information from you so that they can apply for, Medicaid or something in your name to make sure the hospital doesn't go bankrupt.
Right.
But
that's part of the inflation of our medical cost is this requirement to treat everyone.
Correct. And everybody out there knows it. I mean, the people walking the streets who don't have insurance or whatever, they know. And I told you when I was on the hospital board, I'd volunteer to shadow a doc at the emergency room at night, and it was great, great to learn and understand
educational experience
what's going on. But there'd be a lot of people in there with no insurance, no ability to pay, that would just were out of drugs and getting edgy and needed help and stuff. I mean, it all came in, and a lot of guys with mental problems, paranoia, all kinds of stuff that the docs are dealing with, and they've got to stabilize that patient and get him on the streets. Now, sometimes that meant give him something to get him calmed down, and to get him going, not to give him a prescription for illegal drugs or anything, but sometimes that did happen, just to get him out of the way, get him gone and stabilize him.
And because it doesn't cost them anything, it becomes an attractive option for people who want their child to be looked at because they got a fever or something.
Oh yeah, and that's that. And the emergency room is the most expensive healthcare you're going to get.
Right.
That's it. And people that don't have insurance, don't have family doctors, don't have that kind of stuff, they end up in the emergency room, knowing that it's free.
Yes.
Because you can't get money from them. They don't have it.
They don't have any assets.
Yeah, they don't have any assets. So the kid gets really sick, go to the emergency room, and then it's more, it's a tougher case because they're more sick than they should be. And the whole family goes in. Yeah, it's a tough deal, but that's the law. We got to do it. I want to talk about transgenders, but let me take a break because it's still in the news, Dean. It hasn't gone away. We'll be back. AM 560.
Partly cloudy skies today with a high of 65. Partly cloudy and 50 tonight. Sunny and 69 Thursday. Cloudy with rain developing late Thursday night with a low of 54. Rain on Friday with a high of 62.
Since 1905, the Yuma County Chamber of Commerce has been the voice for business in Greater Yuma. Want to stay informed about Yuma's business community? The Chamber connects you with local leaders, business and marketing opportunities, and advocacy that ensures Yuma stays a great place for your business to grow and thrive. Serving all of Yuma and Yuma County, including the Kokopah and Kushan nations, the Chamber strengthens partnerships that move our region forward. Be part of Yuma's business network. Call Valeria or Ashley today at 928-782-2567.
It's pajama time, Yuma. Join Eldorado Broadcasters and Avenir Financial for DJs for PJs, collecting new unused warm pajamas for families in need. Now through December 14th, drop off donations at our radio station at 755 West 28, Avenir Financial at 1780 South First Avenue, and on North Frontage Road in the foothills, or any local Little Caesars pizza. Let's keep Yuma warm this holiday season.
Unique individuals, empowering solutions.
Cost of cleaning supplies
Clean your office building, $250. The time it takes to dust all offices, sweep walkways, vacuum the carpets, and sanitize the restrooms, 4 hours. Having Achieve Human Services clean your entire office building, including the restrooms, priceless. Achieve Human Services, helping people with unique ability to realize their greatest potential through employment opportunities. For more information, call Achieve Human Services at 928-341-0335. That's 928-341-0335.
Human Services. Unique individuals, empowering solutions. Listen to KBLU from 8 to 9 every Monday morning to Life, Death, and the Law. John Garner and Adam Hansen discuss estate planning options. Learn how you can plan your estate using a will or trust to protect your family and secure your legacy. That's Life, Death, and the Law every Monday 8 to 9 a.m. on 560 KBLU.
Out here, folks know the land gives back when we respect it. And now it's our turn to give back to our neighbors. This Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., Sprague Sports invites all outdoorsmen and women to join the Aim to Help Hunger food drive. If you've got extra freezer meat, wild game, fish, or even packaged dry goods and canned food, bring them down to help support the Yuma Community Food Bank. Your donation can help families fill their tables this holiday season. And Sprague's wants to say thank you to everyone who donates. They'll receive a free indoor range pass and be in it for a chance to win one of 4 $100 Sprague's gift cards. It's all happening at Sprague Sports, West 32nd Street, right next to Lowe's. This Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., Sprague Sports invites all outdoorsmen and women to join the Aim to Help Hunger food drive. Let's all pitch in, Yuma. When the community calls, we aim to help hunger. Sprague Sports. Outdoors strong, community strong.
The air is crisp. The sky is clear. It's the best riding weather of the year. Before the holidays and family commitments take over, make sure you carve out some time for yourself and the open road. Bobby's Territorial Harley-Davidson has the latest motorcycles ready to roll. The accessories and gear you need to maximize your ride time. Clothing, collectibles, and housewares that will make any Harley enthusiast's heart rev. Whether you're ready to upgrade or just need the latest performance gear to keep you in comfort, they have everything you need. Don't let the season pass you by. Visit Bobby's Territorial Harley-Davidson today on East Keeler Ridge Road in Yuma.
There's a man in DC.
AM 560 KBL. Russ Clark with you. Dean's here.
Glad to be here.
So I was going to talk about transgenders. Can't wait.
Go ahead.
Sarah McBride. She's a Democrat out of Delaware, and she's very much a pro-gen transgender. I think she might be one herself. I'm not sure. I'll get to that. But she's been switching gears on who to blame for pushback against transgender issues.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So who's she blaming now?
Oh, of course, the Republicans.
Well, I thought that was always the case.
Well, kind of. But she's with Katie Couric right now, who I really don't like her. But she was speaking to Sarah is a transgender himself, whatever it is. She said about rollbacks on transgender policies, such as barring biological male athletes from competing in women's sports, prohibiting gender transition treatments for children. She asked McBride whether the pendulum swung too far and caused backlash against Americans. She says, I don't think the pendulum swung too far. I think more than anything else, the reason why this has happened is because it was a well-funded, well-coordinated effort for fear-mongering and scapegoating around a vulnerable community. I think that was written before she got there.
Yeah, I think so. But it just seems exactly the opposite of reality because it was a well-funded, well-coordinated effort to make transgender an issue.
Yes, it was. She said transgender individuals were gaining visibility. It was not matched by a level of public understanding.
Okay,
that would have prevented the backlash. Right-wing actors took advantage of that vulnerability to demonize the entire community. It's just sort of a reality of new progress, right? It's always been the most fragile at the start. And then that is met most explicitly by well-funded, well-coordinated right-wing effort to demonize, fearmonger, and scapegoat that community. It's toxic consequences.
This is classic Marxist theory.
Yeah, well, McBride earlier, when she was asked back in 24 by the New York Times, asked her where the Democrat Party went wrong in 2024. And then she acknowledged that the party may have overplayed his hand regarding trans issues. I think that's an accurate reflection of the overplaying of the hand in some ways, that we as a coalition went to trans 201, trans 301, and then people were still very much in trans 101 stage. And I think that some cultural mores and norms that started to develop around inclusion of trans people were probably premature for a lot of people. We became absolutist, not just on trans rights, but across the progressive movement. And we forgot that in a democracy, we have to grapple with where the public authentically is and actually engaged with it. Part of this is fostered by social media. So it was the Democrats' fault to begin with. Then it became the Republicans.
Right. But all this, the background, the where she's coming from, her assumptions are that she was always right.
Yeah.
And there's men can always become women, women can always become men.
We just
and it's just a matter of educating people to what her version of reality is.
Right. To
And it's
understand
just
her
not-
reality takes years of transitioning.
if we just say something long enough, it'll prove to be true, even if it's not. And that's one of the big differences between conservatives and the left. Conservatives believe reality exists. There are truths. Truth exists. And the left says, well, if we say something long enough, it becomes true.
I bring this up because people like Sarah exist, and there's a lot of them out there. They're going to keep pushing to make sure that we adopt their values.
That's what they are trying to do.
And they think, well, it didn't work as well as we wanted to because there has been a backlash. Trump's in power and did away with a lot of the nonsense. But I think they're just taking notes and figuring out how we can do it better next time. They're not saying no.
Well, I think right. I think that they haven't changed their assumptions about reality, but reality is biting back. Reality tends to win.
Yeah.
And so when you don't have a huge machine backing you with enormous amounts of funds and publicity,
They've had that.
They had that and they failed. It seems unlikely they're going to make it happen in the future with far less funds and far less
and
propaganda behind them.
And more truth out there that destroys their lives. Like people that get surgery transition as a teenager have better responses and better lives.
Right,
And
we've found out
less
all
suicides.
of that's a lie.
It's not true. None of it. Yeah.
Right.
But the foreign countries that were involved in this kind of nonsense before us
In
already
Europe.
knew it.
Right.
They knew it.
Well, they started doing studies and they started looking at results and they said, whoa, we were told this was going to work. It's not working.
Why? They already went through the whole series, and it's like we have to relive it. We can't just read their research.
Yeah. And then we find that the research that showed that there were problems was suppressed, and that people, they deliberately changed wording on articles to make it appear that it was actually working.
Yeah.
I mean, the censorship was incredible.
Censorship and lies.
Both together.
Yeah.
In combination.
She goes on to say, one of the things that I take solace in, the fact that absolutism, whether on the left or the right, is only possible in authoritarianism. Scary. The fact that change takes time, as unfair as that is, and as unsatisfying as that is, we can try to make it as fast as possible. And we must make it as fast as possible. But the fact that it's hard, that is a feature of democracy, not a bug of it. Which, she's just saying,
disagree.
no, I don't.
It's
But
just
she's just
the
saying there's more of
issue.
it coming. This is planning for the future. And it can only accept it in authoritarianism if they go back to forcing it on us.
Well, I agree. That's what essentially her argument is, but she wouldn't take it that way because, of course,
But she said it. She puts it out there.
she says it only happens in authoritarianism.
Yeah.
The undercurrent, the assumption she's making is the right is authoritarian and we're not.
Well, she said whether it's the left or the right, it's only possible in authoritarian.
Yeah. Okay.
She seems to be fully acknowledging that this thing was forced down our throats.
I see what you're arguing. Yeah.
And we there was a pushback, but she says then it just takes time.
Yeah.
To take hold, because we're going to keep training the kids in public schools.
Well, that's what I think is. That's been the strategy.
Yeah. Chiefs owner Which that's the NFL team now. The Chiefs. Are they still the Chiefs?
Don't know.
Kansas City Chiefs, they still are. I guess
Yeah.
they can get away with it.
Well, there was
That's
some
still
pushback on that.
Is that right? That's still an Indian heritage thing. I don't know that they called themselves Chiefs or we called them that. I don't know, but anyway, the Chiefs' daughter, Gracie Hunt, the daughter of the Kansas City Chiefs owner, Clark Hunt, is applauding Erica Kirk and Turning Point USA for attempting to create their own halftime show to go against Bad Bunny. Now, I think that's interesting. Now, Bad Bunny is some kind of offbeat artist or something, a musician or something that hates the United States, doesn't perform here because we're such a racist country, but took the invitation to do the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, why are we having this thing here?
Yeah,
Why are we
exactly.
having Bad Bunny?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's to show how much we hate the U.S., I guess.
I don't know. So what Turning Point said was, well, great. During the halftime show, we're going to have a Turning Point thing that
Show.
you don't want to miss.
And you can go
So
right
people
to it.
can tune in.
Yeah, right. Go to that instead of this.
Well,
watching something
Gracie
they don't
Hunt,
wanna
the
watch.
daughter of Clark Hunt, says, I'm all for it. And she says that when she appeared on the Fox News, whatever, and she said, Kurt has done a great job leading young, and talking about Erica now, done a great job leading young female Americans. Most definitely looking forward to Turning Point USA's alternative halftime show. I really respect Erica for all that she's done, especially with creating a halftime show for America. You know, children are young, they're impressionable, young women, young men, and everyone. They just need someone to look up to. As someone who doesn't yet have young children of my own, I can't imagine how difficult that is to navigate. But I think she's done an incredible job leading Turning Point, leading young women, and really leading an alternative for young Americans. Football's become the world sport, but at its heart, it's an American sport built around family. When my grandfather named the Super Bowl, he intended it to be something children and families of all ages could come together and watch, and really believe that the game should come first, that football is the attraction, and it didn't need to compromise its character or rely on cheap appeal to draw an audience, especially when that approach can alienate so much of the fan base. The NFL honors women, the military, this country celebrates communities. So I think that whoever they select going forward for halftime show needs to reflect those values more closely. So I respect Erica. She would love to see Jason, Adeline, or even Taylor Swift take the stage for a halftime show performance in the future. The NFL has supported the decision to have Bad Bunny perform at the Super Bowl at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. And I'm excited about the religious revival in the U.S. among women. I think our generation gets a bad rap. But I'm so excited by this movement. I've been seeing with this younger generation, they are hungry for a deeper why. They are hungry for Jesus. November is Global Bible Month, and Bible sales are up. And I'm just seeing this massive resurgence in young women and young men across college campuses getting baptized, sharing the gospel, and wanting to leave this world a better place.
Impressive.
Wow, very impressive. And she's the daughter of the owner of an NFL team.
Yeah.
It says, tune in to Turning Point.
Yeah.
Forget Bad Bunny. I can't believe they did that with Bad Bunny. I mean, I saw a little interview of this Bad Bunny creep.
Uh-huh.
He's not somebody you'd want as your neighbor. But
maybe there's a reason he chose the name Bad Bunny.
But he won a Grammy. So, there you go.
Okay.
I mean, I've always enjoyed the Super Bowl, the commercials, the halftime shows, and all that. I'm going to watch Turning Point.
I think there has been a trend, a downward trend in the halftime shows.
Yes, I think so. They try to be more spectacular with gimmicks than they are with artistry, if that makes sense. Moving stages and high wire acts and crazy stuff. But when they have real names like they used to have, the Prince or stars that really can perform, I like those.
I don't know if it was at the Super Bowl, but I seem to remember like marching bands.
They did that too before, but not the Super Bowl anymore for marching bands too much.
Right.
But they always have dancers and stuff out there. But sometimes I think it becomes a nightclub instead of a performance that you really some iconic performance you look forward to seeing.
Right.
Where
and that's attractive to most people.
I mean, how many people want to go see Bad Bunny?
I don't know. I'm sure he's getting a huge boost of name recognition now. I'd never heard of him before.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I'm sure I'll see a tape of it afterwards to see if I even think it was worth the time. But normally they've done a lot of things. Legendary acts like Rolling Stones or something.
Sure.
And stuff that we would have an interest in seeing. Less and less, and maybe it's my age. Maybe the 30-year-olds are saying, "Oh, Bad Bunny's the hottest thing ever."
Well, and
We're so lucky to have him.
They have these legendary commercials at the Super Bowl too.
The last couple of years have been a little disappointed. They weren't exclusive. I mean, usually you never saw a Super Bowl commercial until the Super Bowl game started.
Right.
They started playing some of them early, and some of them weren't as creative. I mean, there was always something unique and creative that came out.
Sure, because there's huge dollars involved.
Yeah, outrageous
There's
dollars.
an enormous amount of money involved in a Super Bowl commercial. I don't know how much it is. Millions?
I can't remember. Oh, yeah, it's millions for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was 3 to 5 million or something for 30 seconds.
Right. So there's a lot of money to
But apparently, because of the viewership and the amount of people and all that, it's a payoff. I mean, advertisers are willing to pay it.
Yeah.
They get a big bang.
I think it's a status thing too.
Maybe, but that's not going to make the stockholders happy. You got to make the
You
stockholders
hope
happy.
that stockholders are, looking real hard at the bottom line.
Bud Light used to do a lot of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
But then they went to social media and they got Mulvaney.
Yeah, big mistake.
Not that social media is a big mistake. I think social media can be very powerful.
Oh, very. But yeah, I think Mulvaney, the whole Bud Light thing worked very much against their interest.
Well, they decided they hated their base, and they wanted some new customers.
Right.
So they picked on they went after Mulvaney, and I was like, well, that lady's gone though. I mean, that decision makers are no longer at Bud Light, and they're trying to regroup and get back, and then it'll take them years if ever.
I can do
it. Education Secretary Linda McMahon just had a statement. She said the Democrats kept the government shut down for 43 days. Flights were delayed. SNAP benefits ran dry. Small businesses and housing loans were frozen. But no one major component of life for American families went virtually unaffected: education. The Federal Department of Education furloughed 90% of its staff. And what happened? Nothing.
Yeah.
Schools stayed open. Students went to class. Teachers got paid. The shutdown proved our schools don't depend on Washington bureaucracy to function. If 90% of an agency supposedly governing education can disappear for weeks without disrupting education, do we really need it at all?
Well, we operated very well without it for 150 years, I think.
Of course, that's Linda McMahon. She's the
Probably
education
200
secretary, and Trump put her in there to wind it down, get rid of it. Now, whether or not he can do that, I mean, it's going to take an act of Congress.
Let's see now. It was Carter that created it, right?
Yeah.
So about 1976 or 7 or something
Somewhere in
around
there.
there. 75.
And already she's already downsized it by half by March. I mean, she downsized it. And the Department of Labor has already absorbed some of the education department's workforce programs as part of Trump's effort to eliminate the department, which he can do. He can get that done and get some of it shut off, but he can't shut it down completely.
Well, because there's some congressional funding, I think.
Right. It's not part of the function that he can do without the Congress to get behind it.
Right.
Which would be interesting to see it shut down, and it would make OG happy.
Make me happy.
But it's interesting that she comes right out and says, "Yeah, we shut down 43 days. Nobody noticed." That's all money that doesn't go into the schoolroom. That money doesn't affect schoolroom.
Well, very little.
Yeah, and a lot of times people look at that matrix of, okay, you spent $1 million. What percentage of it went into the classroom?
Right.
Versus the front office, the secretaries, overhead, vacations, the educational opportunities in Hawaii.
Yeah, the office that applies for grants.
Right.
All
that
grants
stuff.
themselves. It's education was never. It's not in the Constitution as something the federal government should do.
Never used to be at all.
Right.
In fact,
that was always
communities brought it in.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, my grandfather helped build the local one-room schoolhouse that educated my father and my sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time that I was going to grade school, it was centralized and people would bus from a few miles away into a centralized location. So
we spend a lot more money on it now.
We do enormous amounts, and
half the budget of Arizona.
And what we find is that we don't really get really good value for the money.
No.
And it's, the world is more complex, but the complex stuff is not that involved in grades like, high school.
Well, and we want all kids to do well, so they a lot of stuff is just dumbed down. There's not as much opportunity as even when my son was in school.
We're that, and we spend an enormous amount on very marginal kids that have special needs. And I'm told that the special needs budget is almost as much as the rest of the budget combined.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Special needs takes a lot. There's a lot of special needs that require someone to be with them all the time.
Right. And so you have one person on staff for one student.
Correct.
And that's expensive.
But that happens in ESA as well as
yes, I understand that.
Wherever it goes, the money follows, but it's a lot of money.
In most of the rest of the world, they don't do that.
No.
Too expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
It is expensive. And I don't know where it's all going to go, but ESA has taken a great foothold here and has expanded opportunities. And I know Michael Coe gave our majority leader gave a speech on that.
And you're talking about the Arizona
program. That he's not against any of the educators, the public, the private, the homeschoolers, but we need to raise them all up.
Yeah. And that's the idea of competition.
Well, but the left is we need to have public only and destroy ESA.
Right.
If you want to do homeschooling, do it on your dime. That kind of stuff. So one's friendlier than the other.
Yes.
I'll be back tomorrow. Dean, thanks so much for coming in.
You're welcome.
AM 560 KBLU.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.